What's up, listener? Thanks for pressing play. This week on the Jock and Nerd podcast, Marvel Studios is re-releasing Avengers Endgame in one last push to beat Avatar's box office record.
Geekerific!
We take a look at why so many major franchises are bombing at the box office this summer, Keanu Reeves close to joining the MCU, and everything we learned from the early social media reactions to Spider-Man Far From Home. Plus, a patron-sponsored review of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the movie from 1995. Yeah, you heard that right. All that and more in this edition of the Jock and Nerd Weekly for June 20th, 2019.
This is Ross Marquand from The Walking Dead, and you're listening to the Jock and Nerd podcast. Now, if somebody could please explain to me what a geek boner is, my life would be complete. Until then, rock on, nation.
Check one. All right. This is really fans out there. Let's give it up. We're talking, we nerded. We funny, disturbing. We're talking, we nerded. We spoiler alert. Oh yeah. We're talking, we nerded. We funny, disturbing. Oh yeah. We're talking, we nerded. We spoiler alert.
Hello, listener. What's up? Thanks for joining us, and welcome to the Jock and Nerd podcast, giving you comic book and superhero TV and movie news reviews and whatever we choose. Jock and Nerd. My name is Imran.
My name's Anthony.
He's the Jock.
And he's the nerd.
And that felty fuck in the corner, that's Rug Boy. What's up, puppet?
On top of Ninjetti.
Oh, Ninjetti.
All covered with Zordon splooge. Anyway, whatever.
That Zord is a frog. What's going on here? Anyways, you're jumping ahead to the review again, Rugs, but that's all right. It's a little tease.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. I'm giving everybody a little tickle in the balls.
Little cock tease. Little puppet tease. Look, I know it's like really dumb to talk about local weather and podcasts because they're like, you know, it's going to be around forever. But really, what the fuck? It's June in Chicago, and it's cold and rainy like Seattle, and I don't think it's ever going to get warm again. Oh, shit. Like, I feel like Halloween is around the corner. I don't know what's going on. Is this frustrating anyone else?
Did you guys have fog over there in Chicago?
We had a little bit of fog in the morning. I don't know. It's just been it's been cloudy and wet.
Yeah, it's been weird. This has been a weird summer. Or, well, it technically isn't summer yet.
Tomorrow is the first day of summer, but I don't think it's getting here.
It's just like every time I open the door, it's like I'm in an Alice Cooper video. It's just like fog everywhere, like things emerging.
That's awesome. It's really ominous and murky. Seriously, Seattle, we feel your pain now because I don't know what's going on. Eventually, I just...
Shut up, pussy.
Look, I honestly think we just need to shift the seasons over 4 months. Because of global warming that was invented by China. Summer now starts in September. It's still spring right now. It's the beginning of spring. I don't know.
I think like summer starts at the end of July. That's what the real summer is.
I don't know. It's weird. The water levels
June
are really
is a
high.
Wash.
No, it should be warm. It shouldn't be this cold.
It should be warm, yeah.
I remember when it used to be warm in April.
That doesn't happen anymore, especially in Chicago.
Now it snows in April and May sometimes. Anyways, enough pedantic bullshit weather talk. I'm just a little frustrated. Let's get our frustrations out by going over some geek news.
The Jock and Nerd podcast.
So, you guys, Avengers Endgame out of the theaters, yeah.
No.
Is it not? Is it still playing?
You can still see it.
Well, that's weird because their total worldwide global, this race to hit beat Avatar, they're at $2.744 billion.
Oh, shit.
Right. Just about $45 million short of beating Avatar's all-time worldwide gross. And to kind of help them do that, they've decided to re-release Avengers Endgame next weekend.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. Can you re-release a movie that you can still see in the theaters?
Is this movie still out?
Yes.
Okay, look, so it's been in release.
I think you can still see it.
It's been in release 55 days, and we've already went over Avatar was out for like 9 months or something ridiculous. It was like 200 weeks. But Kevin Feige and Marvel.
I think it's a waste of time.
has not. Well, look, they got to make $45 million. They're going to re-release it June 28th.
New footage.
They're adding 6 minutes.
Oh, shit.
6 minutes additional footage. The runtime is now 188
It's at the end of the movie, though. It's not in movie.
Correct. He said this is not an extended cut, but there will be a version going into theaters with a bit of a marketing push with a few new things at the end of the movie. If you stay and watch the movie after the credits, there'll be a deleted scene, a little tribute, and a few surprises, which will be next weekend. That next weekend.
All the Blu-ray extras that you're going to get to see.
Correct. So look, let me ask you this. First question, what do you think we're going to see? There's been rumor that they have filmed a Lewis from Ant-Man recap of the entire MCU. Like they've done him doing it. Is it possible we see that? Is there, now this comes out June 28th. Far From Home comes out July 2nd, shortly after. Is it going to be a scene from Far From Home? What do you guys think we'll be getting?
I can't even tell you.
What do you want to see?
Nothing.
You don't want to see anything?
I mean, I don't mind. I mean, there's nothing I was clamoring for at the end of this movie. Whatever they show me, I'm going to be surprised that they showed that to us. But there's nothing that I was going, damn, I wish I would have missed out.
It's something I would buy the DVD for because I was going to buy a DVD anyway or whatever. But I wouldn't go back to the theater and sit through it again. Just to see
that was my
ending.
next question. Will you go again, either to help it beat Avatar? I think they have my money again, Marvel. I'm gonna go. I want it to beat Avatar.
I've already seen it a bunch of times.
I understand, but we got to get to was 45 million in there, Rugs. I kind of want it to beat Avatar. I don't know why. It's a fun game.
I don't know if they're gonna get it. To tell you the truth,
So
I don't know. They'll get close,
Yes.
but I don't think they'll get it.
Yes,
I mean,
maybe like it'll be a thing to try and like help the box office, but I don't know.
Anthony, you will go?
I mean, Marvel can make it a thing, right?
Yeah.
Will I go? I think I might go. I'm not 100% decided. When is it? Next weekend?
June 28th. Next, that? Next Saturday? Next Friday?
I might go.
Yeah.
Well, why not?
And then Far From Home a few days after that. But Rugs, to your point, that's interesting. I'm not sure also if it can hit
With
it.
Avatar re-release,
Yes.
they only made like 10, 15 million.
Correct.
at the
In
most.
2010, they did a re-release with, but this one he put in extended scenes, bigger, some more footage in the movie. It made 10 million domestically, another 23 million internationally. So it made 33 million in 2010. That seems like if this has any legs like that, this will barely get to 45 million.
It might just make it. It might if they can get a push. But I think everybody and their mother has seen this movie.
I think fans will still go now that they've got the tease that there's extra shit at the end. Because it didn't have any post-credit scenes and it was perfect that way. But now after some time, after some space, I think they may get really close. Another question posed in the group, in our Facebook group was, is this cheating? No, because Avatar
did it too.
Avatar did the same thing.
No, yeah, it's not cheating. It is what it is. It's a money grab, but the thing that I would say is if you're upset that it's a money grab, don't go watch it.
And don't go watch it.
It's not offending anybody.
No.
They want to set the record for this era. Avatar had it for a long time.
They want to take them down. They're like, let's
A
go.
legitimately long time, by the way.
Yes, a very, very long time, 2009.
I mean, they do want to. I bet they do want to beat Avatar. But at the end of the day, Disney's just competing with themselves. They own Avatar as well.
Now
so it
they
doesn't
own
really matter.
Avatar.
Now they
yes,
do. Yeah.
And you're absolutely right. And the other issue, I think, complicating this is Toy Story 4 is coming out this weekend. Comes out today, actually. This movie is like 98% on Rotten Tomatoes. It's being hailed as a cinematic masterpiece. Apparently, it's the best fucking movie ever. I think it's going to be ruling the box office.
Really, Imran?
That's what people are saying. Look, I'm just telling you what I read.
I'm sure it's a great
Of course,
movie.
all the hype. I love the Toy Stories.
You are a hyperbole king right now.
This is the hyperbole. That's what they say. But the Toy
But you actually believe it. That's the problem.
Listen, the Toy Story franchise, all three movies have been
They're
solid.
good.
Yes.
They should have kept it done. I mean, who knows how good this sounds like
The
it's good,
second
but
one
they
wasn't
should
the greatest, though.
it should have ended at 3 though.
Possibly, but
3 was a great ending.
now the toys have been passed to a new little girl. And I kind of like the one thing, if you watch the trailers, where with a character Forky, where he's just a spork, she turns into a
Right.
toy. So I love the whole discussion of him being like, am I a toy or am I like an eating utensil? What the fuck am I? Do I belong here? Like, that's probably just one of the many things. But all the movies are kind of the same. Like, a toy gets lost, they got to go find the toy and come back. Like, that's every Toy Story movie. But for some reason, they just, it
if you want
works.
to boil it down that much, then sure.
But they're always so good. So And then Far From Home. So Disney's just like competing with itself. It's like Endgame competing with Toy Story 4, competing with Far From Home. Like they're going to make the money anyway they get from over here or over here.
Like I could do a whole side podcast just about toys.
Yeah.
In this conversation about why they make these movies. But like, anyway, I think people still will go see that and they'll still go see this Endgame bullshit. Some fan people will go see
I think it's definitely got my money. I'm going to help it. I want to feel like I helped it beat Avatar. I don't know why. Just cause. All right, listener, if you want to get in the conversation, join in. Let us know what you think. Join our awesome Facebook group, Jock and Nerd Nation. You can find it at our contact page on our website, jockandnerd.com/contact. This is an exclusive closed group for all the geeks and nerds and jocks that listen to the show. You can meet them all. They're great listeners. Get on in there. Mix it up. Listener and supporter and recently featured on the spinoff show, Jimmy Graben. Anthony, you had him on the spinoff show. It was great.
Correct.
He did and he's great in the Facebook group, always posting cool shit. He does a great impersonation of me. If you've heard that show, and I promised I would clip it. Ruggs, are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Here's Jimmy Graven doing his best nerd impersonation.
I love this movie.
What do you think? I think it's pretty good. I think that's pretty good. Ruggs, what would you rate that?
On a scale of 1 to 10, he's a solid 7.
That's a solid 7.
Imran's got a tough voice to impersonate.
The passion is there. I love it.
Shut up with your passion.
I'm saying in his voice. He's got the passion.
Okay.
You don't have any passion, Anthony?
No, your passion is just you like to talk.
Well,
you don't even say anything worth saying. You just talk.
I'm passionate about talking. That's my passion.
Sure.
I think he's got good comedic timing, Anthony.
It's like old people comedic timing.
Dad jokes got nothing on me, motherfuckers. All right, let's move on. I got a bunch of articles. I found one, Anthony, that you sent me and from a business website, and then a couple others that I noticed. A lot of articles coming out talking about the sequels, the reboots, underperforming this summer. In fact, the box office is down this year overall. Now, not all of them, obviously, are underperforming. You have the stuff that worked, like Avengers Endgame, the John Wick 3 worked, How to Train Your Dragon, critically well received. But then you got your Dark Phoenixes, your Shafts, your Men in Black Internationals, Lego Movie 2, Secret Life of Pets, even Godzilla.
I think that most of these movies opened at the end of June, which is the end of school.
Why?
And people are doing things like people are graduating, people are going to dinners and doing. I think that they're not really focused on what do we do for a movie this weekend.
See, I would disagree. Summertime is always usually the best blockbuster time. I think
should be.
Movies are down.
Yeah.
But how do you explain that every movie is doing badly?
Because I think people are much more picky, in particular, with going to what movies they want to see. I don't think people just go because it's a summer blockbuster and it's a big name. You have to have some cachet now. You have to have some credibility. You have to make a good movie. I think people are smarter now.
Like, these are like $20 million openings. It's like nobody's going.
Yeah, it's really, really bizarre.
It's like that's really uncanny.
Well, I mean, you're trotting out like Men in Black. Who really asked for another Men in Black?
Yes.
Right.
Dark Phoenix is a tired series of X-Men movies.
But it should have done better than what it did. There's like no doubt that it should at least opened at like a 40.
Are people getting sick of sequels, though? Is there franchise fatigue? I think there's a couple of categories, of things that are happening.
I think people are getting tired of laziness.
I would be so excited if people are getting sick of the way franchise filmmaking is, and we can go back to like the 1994 where we had like this great curated boutique movie-going experience where there was all these different director auteur films that were even the action movie directors were big. Like you would go see a Cameron, you would see a McTiernan, you'd see a Wu movie.
Yeah, the mid-90s.
It didn't really matter if it was a tentpole. It could be a random. I'll go and watch fucking Face Off and be like, yes, Travolta and Nick Cage are fighting each other.
It was
with
exciting.
Guns.
Back then, we were in college, and it was exciting seeing the risks people were taking, the auteurs, the kind of stylistic points of view, and these the director's rule. That was the age of the director movie. And
we didn't even have the internet back then.
No, we didn't.
Like now, you can actually look up people's fucking IMDb pages and research, so I can see their track record and shit like that.
Yeah.
And I think that could make it so much more interesting because you're like, oh, this guy Darren Aronofsky did all this shit. But like, and I think that maybe younger people are getting hip to this. Maybe they're like, oh, the directors really matter, and in franchise filmmaking, the director doesn't matter as much.
No, they don't.
Because like you have like this mega producer like Kevin Feige, and he's running shit, and they all have to kind of capitulate to like the vision of the actual brand. So we're losing a lot of that stuff, and I think maybe that's fatiguing out some things.
I would say, actually, so I would disagree with that as well. I think the internet's hurt the movies because you look on Rotten Tomatoes, okay, Shaft, 32%,
Yep,
Dark Phoenix, 23, Men in Black, 23. People are looking at the internet, Godzilla, 40.
Yep.
They're looking at the internet and going, Rotten Tomatoes gave it a negative score. I'm not wasting my money this weekend.
I'm out. Snap decisions.
John Wick, 89%. Avengers, 94%.
Yep.
Rocket Man, 89%.
Yep.
Those all made money.
Yep.
Yeah, but that's sheep thinking.
Hey, that's what it is.
And I don't know. I don't think that's going to lead to better movies.
I don't think in the 90s they didn't have this. You had to seek out a review. Now you can just find it.
Yeah.
Oh, look.
Yeah.
All the reviews are aggregated.
And it's aggregated, and they take all the nuance out of it. And you don't even read the review. You just get the bullet point, and then or the quote, the call out, and then that's what you judge the movie by.
Yeah.
Like, you can read the whole review, and there's all these great compliments of a movie, and then there's that one line that they pull.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, how is it any different, though, than Yelp?
Yeah. The internet has ruined that, too.
Yeah, but
has it ruined it? I mean, you just don't waste your money.
Either. I don't really trust Yelp either. Because, like, you can always, and I don't trust Amazon reviews either. There's always people who hate it. I always go immediately to the people who complain. It's always the same bullshit. Like, you know, have you done that? Like, every restaurant has, like, complaints that are terrible.
Look,
I just don't think people are going to waste their time on things if they see enough people don't like it.
Real consumer reviews are valuable, but then when you just let any asshole,
I mean, which one of these movies are you going to argue for needed to get a huge opening?
No, well, that's a good point. I would think Godzilla because
it wasn't that good.
Yeah, so
it was fine, but it wasn't like an awesome movie.
Yeah, I mean, but we've seen fine big spectacle movies.
We've seen Venom make money.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. We've seen Venom make.
I mean, you're gonna get your your shitty movies that do make money. Like there is a Venom, there's a Jurassic World. But I think people are a lot more hip to this stuff.
I think you're right,
and they're getting tired of this shit.
So all the stuff you said is, I have this article in Cinema Blend, and it's all, there's 4 categories, and it's all these things happening together. The first one being franchise fatigue. Movies nobody asked for, like you said, Anthony. Men in Black easily lands in that category. This guy puts the Lego 2 movie, which shocked me that it did not do good, but franchise fatigue. They made the Lego movie.
I was surprised that was a fluke.
Yes.
I was like, I never thought the Lego movie would have interest. I was like, who wants to go see Legos?
The first one was great, and they followed up with the Batman, the Lego Ninjago. So maybe too many Legos, and people are now, they don't care. Another category is, you could put Dumbo in this boat also. Nobody really wanted that CGI remake of Dumbo. The other category, which you also mentioned, the bad reviews, took down Dark Phoenix and Hellboy. Remember Hellboy? Another reboot that did shit. Even
Godzilla
and Godzilla, yes.
Men in Black, those all.
And Shaft also suffered from the bad buzz. And then the third category, which is also really important and has a lot to do, is too much competition coming out. Every week there is a fucking big movie. Like we talked about these movies. Dark Phoenix had 1 week before another movie came out. Godzilla had 2 weeks before another big movie came out.
I don't necessarily agree with that because I remember the early 2000s. We got big budget movies every weekend and they were all making money.
But this is, I think 2019, this schedule, if you go look at it, this is the most packed, craziest, most shit.
That's hyperbole. I don't agree with that.
I remember last year looking ahead going, holy fuck, look at 2019. There's 40 fucking big movies coming out.
I think Marvel was doing, 2 movies a year, right?
Yeah.
Doing 2 to 3.
Then they went to 3, yes.
But this is what happened. I think Star Wars came back. All right, and then they were making movies every year too, a movie or 2 a year, and then
that was too much.
Then the Disney remake started coming out.
Yes,
so there's 3 huge chains that are now all spinning at the same time.
Along.
That was not true.
No.
5 or 6 years ago.
Yeah, see, I agree with Rug Point. They are churning shit out. And then the last category they put in here is people who are like, I'm just going to wait till it comes out on each HBO or Netflix. Why watch a bad X-Men movie in the theater when I could watch a good one right here
There's
at
plenty
home?
of that. There's plenty of the why am I going to even go out to a movie theater?
Yeah. And these streaming services
There's that
make
too.
it
There's
harder.
so much other competition of stuff to watch, but
Now, turning to how to do it right, Anthony, this article from the Harvard Business Review, Marvel's
Right up my
blockbuster
alley.
machine. Yes, business and pop culture.
Yep,
Do you read the Harvard Business Review often?
Not very often, but I definitely checked this out.
It's a
and I
legit
enjoy it.
business website. Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
Yes, Harvard Business Review.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it because it takes a very business analytical approach to what they're doing.
So break down, give us the gist of this. Why are what they doing so effective if from a business point of view?
Well, I mean, they labeled it with 4 different things. They came to, so they polled a bunch of people, and by a bunch, I mean a lot of people. I forget the numbers. Let me look at it real quick.
They analyzed 243 interviews, 95 video interviews with producers, directors, writers, 140 reviews. Then they digitally analyzed scripts and the visual style of each movie, examined the networks of 1,023 actors, 25,853 behind-the-camera workers from movie to movie.
Right.
That's a lot of fucking data right there.
A lot of data. So this is very analytical, very qualitative research. Quantitative research, sorry. And they came up with 4 reasons why the Marvel machine is working the way it is. And I'm going to read it the way they wrote it, and then I'll just quickly explain it. So select for experienced inexperience. What they mean by that is they've gone the route of choosing these indie directors or these small-scale directors and giving them the creative freedom to do what the hell they want. But instead of going with, let's go with pedigree and go with a director that has experience in big blockbuster stuff, they're like, we'll handle the big blockbuster stuff. You make the story. You make it the way.
And that's fucking ballsy and risky as fuck.
Right. That's not usually how business works. Usually you hire someone that has the same pedigree as you. You don't usually hire someone that thinks differently.
And back in the day, you did a superhero movie, you were kind of a joke afterwards. Like, just kill your career. They changed that.
But then on top of that, the second point is they leverage a stable core, meaning they keep a certain crew around. So there's some consistency. So they have like an inner circle of people that they carry over from movie to movie, but then they bring in new pieces around it.
Amazing.
So that the pillars, per se, don't necessarily fall apart with each movie. They're still there, but then they're adding design around all the pillars every movie.
It's so smart because I remember reading the article about they get these indie directors and they literally put them through like a visual effects crash course, first of all. So they know how to deal with this. Mm-hmm. But you have, the aesthetics, the outside of the foundation is artistry from the director, but the thing holding it together is from this crew that works well together and moves. It also reminds me of Motown, like the band that recorded all the music from. It was the same band, moving from group artist to artist, but they held down the beat and built this Motown song with several artists. Kind of a similar philosophy there.
Though they actually list an artist here. Broken Social Scene is a band that acts like a musical collective. Did you read that?
Yes.
So there's only it's only a duo. But then every album, they add different musical artists.
They got features.
To help them.
Yeah.
So it's the same kind of principle of you have your core, and then you just fill in around it for every different movie.
You have the reliable, competent core always. And that keeps the consistency. It's really good.
Yeah. So then the third thing, this is 3 out of 4, is called keep challenging the formula. So I've heard you say this a couple times, Imran, when we do these reviews, and I've always been like, no, this is wrong. You usually will be like, is this formulaic?
Yeah,
is it formulaic?
yeah.
And there's a lot of people like, oh man, these Marvel movies are formulaic. And they even come to the conclusion, it looks like they are. But then they did this analysis of every single line in every movie. And it revealed that each of these movies have different tones, different script.
Yep.
So Iron Man 2, they list, it has a lot of humor. But then Captain America, the Winter Soldier, and Guardians of the Galaxy. Guardians of the Galaxy is in space. Captain America, the Winter Soldier is a much more serious film. So, Doctor Strange is known for its artsy, brainy visuals. Spider-Man Homecoming has neighborhood responsibilities rather than intergalactic violence. So they actually did analyze these movies, and they realized that they're not these formulaic movies. They all have these different tones. They all have these different settings. There's not really a Marvel formula that everyone's been talking about.
It is and it isn't. The only really same thing is like it always ends in a third act battle,
that's like,
CGI battle.
What sets it apart is the characters, but the way that they approach filmmaking and the scripts, very similar. The way that they approach their action scenes and their tones and their colors, very similar. They're like, you can always tell a Marvel movie from DC
but that's
movie.
style. That's that's the style. That's kind of the brand.
The tone is never
The tone's
so
always
serious.
different. Right.
Like, is there a tone that's as serious as The Dark Knight? No, it's not. I mean, even the Winter Soldier.
I mean, Winter Soldier
is the
seemed to
most
get
serious
close.
Your Winter Soldier gets pretty serious.
Yeah, but that's the outlier.
Yeah.
It's not like there's a lot of those.
So you would disagree with this?
Yes, because somebody puts it in an article, I don't agree with it.
Well, what's your counter?
So you don't
to
think they're challenging the
because
formula?
they're challenging
every movie?
Yeah, I've listed.
I think they are.
Exact
What's
examples.
challenging? I know what to expect. Have you been to a Marvel movie and been like, oh, I would never expect that coming? You kind of know what you're going to get.
So you went to Black Panther and went, oh, they're going to do social commentary in this movie?
Yeah.
You did. You predicted that. Let's look up any review or any prediction.
How can you not?
Where is there a prediction that you said that?
I was surprised by Ant-Man, and
How
Guardians
can you not?
that way.
How can you not do a black superhero and not have social commentary? It's Black Panther in and of itself as a comic book is a social commentary. How do you not do that? I could because it's in the comics.
Where's there proof of you predicting that?
I didn't predict it like on the show, but I mean, like I wasn't surprised by it.
I mean, I think that.
Were you surprised? Were you taken aback that there was social commentary in
Why
Black
are you getting
Panther?
Mad? Because you're mad, bro.
Yeah, why are you getting mad?
No, I'm not mad. I'm just like saying, I'm like, this is like.
So you don't think the Marvel
you didn't
challenge?
expect there to be any?
So
social
you don't think that any of these movies, or do you think they're all the same?
No, I think that they're all very similar. Not the same, but very similar.
I would say they are, and they aren't formulaic, both at the same time, but in a consistent stylistic way.
Like if you watch Suicide Squad, there's eye candy, there's all this stuff, there's like rape fucking shit and all that stuff, and then you watch another, like you watch Aquaman, there's none of that.
Yeah,
they're completely different. So they don't ever change tone that much. It's always just a small degree of change. This one has this much more humor. This one has that much more humor. So I don't know. Because somebody puts it in an article, I don't know.
Who's somebody? This is a study.
Yeah, this is
but everything has a bias to it.
It's the analytical results of from data.
Yeah, I don't know if that. I don't know. I just feel like it's very like I don't know. It doesn't really give you any insight, really. Like to why the formula.
Well,
works.
he didn't get to number 4. Anthony, get to number 4.
Let's go to number 4. So. Number 4, well, actually, number 3, there is a good point in here.
Yeah.
So they actually take Star Wars Last Jedi, which is actually a good example. So Last Jedi pissed people off because it changed a lot. And what Marvel's done well is they've conditioned their audience to expect almost that each movie is going to be a little bit different in terms of tone and accept it. Whereas Star Wars always had their flat, like, this is the way the movies go, this is the way it is. And then they stuck Last Jedi in there.
They tried
and
to swerve.
They swerved it too much.
Yeah.
Whereas Marvel doesn't do that.
Well, they're on brand.
They're on brand.
The last thing that you just said just contradicts what you said here. Well, with this guy, that's why his article, I don't really put too much, belief in it, because how can you have things that are different, but then everybody accepts them, but they're not that different because they're on brand and they're controlled.
The brand is being different every time.
So it's crazy. No,
the brand is being that. No, you're not getting the point. The brand is being different every time. That's the brand.
No, but you just said Star Wars went too different.
Because Star Wars because they changed the brand on that particular movie.
Right. But you're saying that the movies are so different that everybody expects them to be completely different movies.
Yeah, there's expecting change for every movie. You can't tell me that Thor Ragnarok is the same movie as Thor the first one.
No,
they're
it's
wildly
not.
different tones.
No, they're wildly different. That's a wildly big change.
And they do tone well. Now,
in tone,
the Star Wars audience does not want you to challenge the Star Wars formula. They kind of want,
but the Thor formula never worked,
right?
Until they got it,
so they could play with it.
Star Wars formula worked. It was tried and true for decades. People responded to it.
That is a testament to they're willing to take risks and do these.
Well, when something doesn't work and you have your first movie doesn't do well. I mean, it does okay. The second movie everybody hates. Then you have a license to actually do something different and try something different, right? With your character and it's not even that different. They just looked at Guardians of the Galaxy who's doing well. Let's just do that. So, I mean, there's a sameness to it as well. They're like adapting what's working in other movies and putting it in. Don't get me wrong. Marvel is brilliant about what they're doing, right? But I don't think that it's like some kind of they're doing all this freedom that you're talking about, and these directors are doing whatever they want, and there's no brand and there's no like identity and style to this brand. Like it's kind of a narrative that they're saying that they're letting these directors do all these things and take all these risks, and I don't really think that. I don't see that.
I think they experiment. I think they
take small risks.
Yes.
They see what's working.
Risks.
They push it.
Yeah.
They stay on brand. They keep the continuity very tight. And another thing is that they don't give up on stuff really easy.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
They don't just sit there and go, Thor was floundering 2 movies in.
Yeah.
They don't give up on it.
Yeah.
They kept
again.
hammering it out. We're going to make you like Thor.
All right.
And they did it. The same with the Hulk. 2 movies sucked balls, and they figured out what to do with Hulk. And then eventually, when they got you to like Hulk, they go in and change them. But they do it in the continuity of the comics. They do it with canon behind it to support it. Oh, we have Professor Hulk. We can do that. So they're very brilliant when it comes to that. But the way this article is painting like Disney as like taking all of these risks and letting these auteurs like do what they want with the characters. We're hiring like these inexperienced directors. No, they're hiring these inexperienced directors so they can tell them exactly what to do and they'll do it.
And you save a little money, I guess.
Yeah.
But I think to the general audience, they are reacting to the different kind of movies, because people went to see Black Panther who had never seen a Marvel movie, but then people will go see a fun heist movie or a space movie, and I think the general audience loves and is excited to see what's next, what Marvel's going to give them. So I see your point, but I do think they do challenge the formula somewhat. Anyways, number 4, Anthony.
Number 4, last one, is they cultivate customer curiosity. So this is your Easter egg stuff where they throw in little things that then you go, oh, what the hell is that? What's that got to do with anything? And then you look it up. Like, for instance, in Thor, the first Thor, they threw in an Infinity Gauntlet reference that not a lot of people picked up.
Right.
But they'll do this throughout the entire movies, and that's something that they've picked up from comics. They picked that up just from the way Marvel used to interact with their audience back in the day as well. They picked all that up, and they're like, okay, this is what, like, these hardcore fans will enjoy this, but then the casual fan will also be like, hey, what's that? And they'll look it up on their phone.
What I love about this
they might do that later.
This is what was great about reading comic books. And they've just turned like all these moviegoers almost like a fandom like into comics. They give them a puzzle. They want to learn more. It's not going to get them to read comics, but this is the same feeling you would get when you picked up an issue random and you're like, who's this guy? When did this start? And you go back and try to figure these things out.
It all falls back on the source material, right?
Yeah.
So Marvel has always been better at continuity than most other places.
Yeah.
Besides Valiant, but they've pretty much kept a good handle on their characters and not changed them they've changed them in ways, but like never losing the essence of what they are and all of that stuff up until recently. Then they're taking a lot of risks now. They're trying to get new fans, but that core right there. And then you have what Anthony said about the production core of those people that understand what they're doing. That foundation is really, really solid. And so they're doing stuff. They're doing stuff that they've done in comics, like those Easter eggs and referring to back into canon of stuff that's happened in the past for the fans. So those are really smart things. And DC doesn't do that. The minute that they have a movie that's bad, they just abandon it. They start firing directors.
Yeah.
They start fucking
freak
looking
out.
for they're just clawing at stuff. So Marvel's a lot more stoic. They know, okay, we just got to stay the course. We have the fucking characters. We know what we're doing. We got to trust in the source material. And they do that. And it's evident. And I think that's what this article was missing. So when I read this article, I was like, but what about like the fact that like they kind of like, they don't just give up on their characters. They like DC does. Like put it this way. If DC stuck to what they were going to do in the beginning, everybody hates it at first, but eventually there's a groundswell of people who want the Snyder cut now. Okay.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of people that are there for the stuff that they've already put out. So you can't just build a franchise If you're going to just, the minute you lose a game, we're going to hang it up and fucking fire everybody.
Yeah, it looks
You got to
bad.
fucking stay the course and build your team.
You want to see someone stay confident with their plan and not.
Well,
Yeah.
what it would seem to me is if we're looking at this article and then comparing it to DC, DC doesn't have a very stable core.
Right.
But what they jumped to right away was number 4, which is let's cultivate customer curiosity and announce all these movies and put in the movies all these different characters that we're gonna do. But then once that movie doesn't work, they don't have that stable core to be like, just stay the course, stay the course. They fall apart right away, and they're like, okay, new core.
Yeah,
so
it's
it's
a
something
leadership
different.
Yeah,
problem.
scrap all those things. That's just no confidence in whatever they're doing. And there's so many.
And the thing is that really sucks about DC is that they've had the keys to all their characters
Yes.
this whole time.
Yes.
Marvel has not.
Yes, Warner
That's
Brothers
true.
has
Just
owned that
recently
shit.
got all of their pieces on the table.
So
So it's just a big joke in like not trusting that what you have, your IP, you're not trusting it. You're not having faith in it. You're just kind of using it to make money, but you're not really believing in it like the way Marvel does and Disney does.
I mean, it just blows me away that, after Infinity War, the long play on Thanos, after Infinity War, everyone, little kids, adults, walking around talking about Thanos. I was like, that's just crazy that fucking Marvel did this. I never thought people would be like, Thanos. They can do that. They can do anything. Let's move on to.
We'll see how it goes moving forward, though. I think.
Are they running out of steam? Maybe are they running out of?
I don't know. We'll see. I mean, the Spider-Man stuff we'll get to, but
Plus, they got the X-Men and they got.
they're gonna lose a lot of stuff
But
too that they had.
Just hear this out.
Yeah.
Like, so Star Wars was this thing that was like this miraculous thing that happened like a bunch of years ago. People wanted more Star Wars. They were curious about what was going to happen with this, if they could actually build on it. And then they put out the other prequels, right? That kind of like killed the excitement for it,
For
right?
a little while, yes.
And then we got this new thing and people were excited about that. And it broke a shitload of records. And, at a certain point in time, when they did The Last Jedi, they purposely were trying to take everybody in a different direction. And nobody wanted to go that route.
Yeah.
I mean, not nobody, but there's a large portion of the old fans that didn't want to go that route. And what do you think they're going to do next? They're going to try and backpedal to try and get those people back. If that doesn't work, Star Wars could be dead.
Yeah, unless they just try.
I mean, Anthony's already checked out on Star Wars.
Yeah, it didn't keep you.
He's had enough,
yeah.
right?
I've been checked out since Star
All right,
Wars.
now put
It's a good
yourself
point.
in a position
It's a
of
good
somebody
point.
who's not a comic book fan.
Yeah.
Like, they're
Right.
going to check out eventually, too, if it goes wrong. But Marvel's been fucking, they've been rolling the dice and they've been, doing well. So, hopefully that it continues. But I think that all they need is a few fuck ups and,
it can turn.
Yeah.
They can all turn them.
I think the one thing I got from this article, besides all the other stuff, is just thinking about it organically. This all started because of something really no one wanted.
Yeah,
right?
that's a good
It's like
point.
similar to Star Wars. Like no one wanted Star Wars
Yeah.
until it came out.
Yeah.
Who really wanted an Iron Man movie starring Robert Downey Jr. with the director of Elf directing it?
Yes.
Like no one gave a
On
fuck.
paper, sounds like a horrible idea.
I mean, you have your core comic book audience that knows who Iron Man is,
Yeah.
but I've heard this plenty of times. Iron Man was a B-list,
Yeah.
C-list character.
Yeah.
It was something that came out that no one thought they wanted that became this overnight thing. I think, us talking about franchises and all that, it's the things that you don't expect to be good that can then blossom into something awesome.
The thing that I think about Iron Man is that when Iron Man came out, it was the third movie in, or was the second movie in?
I think it was the
Second movie in of what?
the
second
first
movie
one.
in of the Marvel.
No, it was the very
first
first
Marvel
one. That was the
first
first one.
No, but the Hulk is
The Hulk
involved
came
in
a month later.
because Thunderbolt Ross was in that movie.
Yeah, that was in
carried
June.
over.
The Hulk was a few months later. Iron Man first.
They had given you that at the end of that movie, an inkling
Yeah.
that there was going to be a shared universe. And I think that not only was the movie great, but that the promise of more characters possibly coming in, I think that ignited something.
Well, that's a good
Where
point.
it wasn't going to be just a one-off movie of one random character that didn't exist in the other universe. Like, that they were going to do something that's that they were building a shared universe. I think that captured everybody's imagination.
And that, if that wasn't released so soon after Iron Man, I don't know if they'd made us wait a year to put a tag in another movie. But even though that Hulk movie was not the best, when people found out what happened at the end tag, you're like, oh, holy shit. Also, Favreau, you know, this guy's never done a superhero movie, never done a big budget movie. There's so many brilliant choices they made. He doesn't shoot it like a typical superhero movie. He just shoots it like a movie based on a character. Downey Jr. being where he is and kind of just playing himself, fitting in perfectly as Tony Stark. Like, all these things magically came together.
He modified that character to make it him.
Yes.
Not Tony.
Right.
It was Robert being Tony.
Because these guys, they were smart to see where the strengths were and play to those strengths. On what was it? I love the articles where they're like, this was like a $200 million independent movie we were working on. Nobody knew.
Jeff Bridges.
Yeah, what was going to happen. Jeff Bridges said that. And yes, it is similar to Star Wars. In fact, there is a great podcast I've been listening to from Wondery called Inside Star Wars. This guy breaks down the making of Star Wars. And you hear a lot of the same stories. People are like, George, the fuck are you doing? Like, they're late. They can't get these shots done. Nobody can understand the stuff in Star Wars. It's amazing. They invented so much shit. None of this, we forget, none of this had been seen before. You had never seen a dogfight with multiple spaceships in space. That had never been filmed on like the way it's been done. And the next movie, he has to create new shit. That's why these movies, the original, are so special. Every Star Wars movie showed you something that had never been done before. And that's a little bit harder to do these days also.
Yeah.
Well, no one's getting other than, unless you're James Cameron, right?
Yes.
Who's getting the creative license to make a big budget film out of their own head?
Original IP. That's hard. I can't imagine that's ever going to happen again.
I mean, it might happen again.
But
I think it will.
It's going to take a while. Yes. Once
Everything
this burns
out.
Yes. Once this burns out.
If you look at the history of film, there are these trends that last 10 or 15 years, and then or sometimes even shorter than that, and then they run their course. Like, it was like westerns, wall-to-wall westerns in the 50s. Yeah. So it's like those things kind of run their course, and then, you know, they move on to something else. So I think right now it's the era of the franchise film. It's the era of IP, when we've exhausted every single IP to the point where, like, people just want something different. I think it'll happen.
I mean, you're right. These trends are cyclical. Like, if you think of Hollywood,
it's kind of already going away.
It's happening.
Right? We just talked about the big franchises not making the type of money that we expect them to make.
The franchise era is they have to rethink. I mean, if you think about Hollywood, it started with the studio movie. People went to see movies because of what studio made it. That shifted to like the actors and actresses in the movie. People will go to see whatever movie this guy was in. Then in the 90s, like we were just talking, it kind of shifted to directors. You would get a director and go see every movie. And now we're kind of back to the franchise studio movie model in a big cycle.
I would say
now we're about IP. Then
it's
franchise and IP.
Right. Now it's the
I would
IP
say
model.
the early 2000s were like beginning of franchise let's see this big blockbusters, basically. Anything where it looked like you put in a ton of money.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, we're going to go see that. And now then it became this franchise model. And now, you know, other than Marvel and some of the DC stuff, and we'll see how Star Wars goes, that model is getting a little tired for a lot of people.
It's going to have to change a little bit very quickly, very soon, because we're seeing a bunch of things.
I also think the rise of big budget TV shows.
Yeah.
I think that's also, people are like, oh, wait, like, I'm not watching this TV show and thinking it's a TV show. I'm watching Game of Thrones and being like, this is a long form fucking movie.
It's a movie every week.
In a TV show.
Yeah.
And actually, I mean, if I'm being frank, if a TV show has the budget, I would much rather follow a TV show, you know, week to week, or watch 10 episodes rather than watch one movie and wait, you know, half a year to see the next story.
Sure.
For 3 hours at most.
Yeah, that's huge competition, and the fact that
I think
TV's
you could tell a better story, better characters.
Right. Yeah.
That the 2.5 hour limit. I mean, the Russo brothers, you've heard them say this, that it's very limiting.
It is, if you think about how limiting it is.
You can only do so much with so many characters, and without actually like doing a disservice to the character, because you have to cut all these lines down so other people can breathe, and it's just crazy. In a TV show, you can give everybody, like, when you watch Game of Thrones, you really know all the characters, even like the smaller characters. They've had a lot more screen time than And in a movie they would have gotten in, you know what I mean? They would have been like an ancillary background person.
I think we're heading into that era, Anthony. You're absolutely right. If you look at The Mandalorian on Disney Plus, got $100 million for like 6-7 episodes.
I think that's where it might go.
That looks like like a great Star Wars movie.
Netflix is snatching up anything that they think could be
Netflix needs
television.
to. Their budgets are big, but it needs to be a little bit bigger because some of the CG becomes questionable here and there, even in their big releases.
I just think that the movies are having a harder time making back their money. Like we talked about the marketing budgets, getting people like they're so distracted with all this other stuff to get people into the theater, like to physically go to the theater.
Yeah.
You have to market the shit out of it, and you're spending like all of the money that you'd make in profit on marketing. You like basically just blanketing everything and anything with the fucking movie, like TV, internet. Like, you go to the store, you buy a candy bar, there's fucking shit on the wrapper, like
You're right.
everything.
And if you can't afford that, your movie is really going to not get a lot of buzz or even be seen, unfortunately. That's how we roll it.
And the TV shows, you don't have to market that much. I mean, you could just put Netflix on and then the ad's right there.
Yeah.
You're already there.
True.
You're like, oh, I'm going to check this out. Let me give it a spin.
The TV show word of mouth.
Well, and TV show, I was just going to say word of mouth.
Like podcasts, it really helps.
Stranger Things came out, no ads at all, right? You just fucking turned it on one day and there it was.
Yeah, you just heard. You're like, what's the Stranger Things everyone's talking about? And you watch it and you're like, holy shit, this is great. All right, that was a great article, Anthony. Thanks for breaking it down. The future for Marvel, what does it hold? Well, we may find out very soon. And by soon, I mean July 18th to 21, the 50th anniversary year of the San Diego Comic-Con. Marvel Studios has confirmed that it will be at Hall H.
Oh, shit.
This year. Last year, they skipped Hall H, and Warner Brothers had a big year. This year, Warner Brothers sitting this out. Marvel will be at Hall H, and the next month will be at D23. We're going to get a double dose July, August, a whole bunch of shit. My question is, what do they release where? I don't know. What's smart? How they would divvy this up to make both events special.
I was taken by surprise by this because I thought they were going to sit it out again in the Disney event. So I thought they were playing chicken with DC to see if they would bail out. They did, and they're like, oh, and then they announced it a week later that they were going to do it.
Yes, that is shocking.
That was like a big game of chicken, I think. And so now, like, Marvel's got the floor. They can do whatever they want and get all the press.
I mean, they're going to announce their movies, obviously. I think they're going to put a big push behind this Disney Plus stuff.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that's going to be a big deal.
I think they're going to announce these shows officially, or if they haven't already announced them, really draw into the fact that these are tied into the movies, so that they can make their money back on all this Disney Plus stuff, because that's a huge rollout for them.
I agree. I think they need to make everyone understand here is the order of things, and the order and platform is important. Pay attention. This is a movie, this is a TV show, then this movie, then this TV show. But the fact that they need to make both events special and keep reveals for both is going to be very interesting. Of course, we want the fall Phase 4 slate. Whether they break that up or where they announce it at San Diego, I don't know.
I think they've kind of leaked, or not leaked, but I think we have a rough idea of what the Phase 4 slate is already.
Kind of. There's, we have the Nova rumors.
There's the rumors of that, but I mean, we know, like, for instance, we know Black Widow's
Black Widow's filming right now.
We know Shang-Chi is going to happen. We know that the directors got hired to do Doctor Strange 2. We know that Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 is going to happen when James Gunn is done. Like, we know these movies are happening. We know that the Eternals is happening.
Well, I would love to hear an official casting of the Eternals. We've had rumors of, Rob Stark and Angelina Jolie and all these other people.
Rob Stark. I like that you referred to him.
Richard Madden.
I don't even know. Is that his
Richard
name?
Madden.
Richard Madden.
Yeah, but he's Rob Stark. But all these rumors of these people in this movie, and we'll talk in the next bit of news, another guy. So maybe some clarification on this. Other people thinking a clarification on the future of Spider-Man in the MCU, the future of Anthony Mackie. Is he going to be Captain America? Do we want to hear something about the X-Men and the Fantastic Four? How important is this, and where do they fit this in? Tell us something.
I feel like that it would be good to actually give people the idea that it's going to happen.
that we're thinking
it's
about
gonna
it,
happen.
that we have plans.
Maybe not soon, maybe not like right around the corner, but definitely hold on. You're going to see some awesome shit like in a year from now or 2 or whatever. You're going to start seeing some shit. Because these are characters that people like, and they just fucking shit the bed with the X-Men. They just really fucked the X-Men up really bad. And there's all these characters they got back that are from those franchises that they can now use. So there's a lot of play right now.
There really is a lot. Some of the other fun rumors I love, is Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Is Chris Hemsworth going to return, possibly as Thor? Lots of talk about who owns the new Avengers Tower. Possibly.
Oh, what the hell? Really? Is that a thing?
Well, possibly the introduction of Norman Osborn as a big bad, which I think Norman Osborn would work as a big bad for the whole kind of Phase 4 universe. And like you mentioned, Doctor Strange and what's Loki doing? There's so many things they could do. Also, rumors of another Captain America story somewhere. There's all these things. Killmonger's return. This rumor page is crazy. Kevin Feige's also talked about Spider-Man and Venom. He said that's Sony's choice. It's all on Sony. So July and August, we're going to get a lot of great MCU what's in the future. It should be exciting. Kevin Feige also confirmed he has been talking with Keanu Reeves for something.
I heard that he mentioned that he's been talking to Keanu Reeves like for every movie.
Oh, every time. Oh, for everything they have coming up.
Leading up. Well, no, even like leading up, he's been having conversations with Keanu Reeves.
Oh my God. So even movies that have come out, like where would you fit in? Oh, we talked to him for almost every film we make. What the fuck? Shit. I don't know when, if, or ever he'll join the MCU.
So he says no every time.
Possibly.
That could be right.
Possibly. So, well, do
you think, wasn't Keanu Reeves, it's funny, like Keanu Reeves was for me, you had Speed, which was, fun. Matrix was, a good movie, but he became kind of a joke for a while.
Oh, yeah.
And then John Wick came out, and now everyone's back on the.
There's a Keanu-sance. It's called the Keanu-sance. But
is that what it's called?
Yes, they're calling it the Keanu-sance.
The Keanu-sance?
The Keanu-sance. We're in the Keanu-sance.
Oh, shit.
I love that.
Now, I was going to say, though, I don't think he's like become a better actor. No. I just think he's picked better roles that suit his strengths.
Yes, he said himself, I'm not the best actor. I'll tell you what you do with Keanu, and it's 2 words.
Yeah, what do you do?
John Wick. The reason it works so well is Keanu barely has any lines.
Well, I thought you were going to say what he was going to do for Marvel.
I'm saying you got to find a John Wick type role. Now, there's a bunch of rumors. Who would you want him to play? Everything from
The Punisher.
Oh, shit. Wait a minute. I think you already know. I think he's already done that in John Wick. Adam Warlock for Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
I feel like isn't Adam Warlock, you guys can correct me, isn't he like a perfect specimen?
Sure. I'm not really
sure.
Created
in a lab or like created. Yeah. So I don't think
traditionally
old,
blonde.
Right?
Keanu, I see. Keanu's old. Traditionally blonde, but you could have him scruffy. There was the Wolverine. Somebody threw out there. Keanu as Wolverine.
I'm telling you, a Punisher.
Just do the John Wick.
I can't tell if he's being serious.
I already know how to use guns. Silver Surfer.
He does.
What about Silver Surfer?
He might not be a bad Silver Surfer. Kind of has that stoic personality.
Yeah, he wouldn't have to talk much, but he doesn't fight. You want to use Keanu's like fighting and stunt riding and horseback riding.
His physicality is what makes him great.
How about Moon Knight, and a Moon Knight that maybe doesn't talk much but talks with his eyes and his looks?
I was going to say Moon Knight's a little bit too nuanced, I would say.
No, you need a really good actor for Moon Knight.
To play the
you need like a great actor for Moon Knight.
You
need like a Michael Fassbender or somebody.
Shit, yeah.
Oh, that'd be good.
To play like a mentally schizophrenic kind of.
Or even fucking McAvoy. Either one of those guys.
Oh,
would be a great
McAvoy from that movie Split. That's kind of Moon Knight a little bit.
It is.
A little bit.
Boom.
Now, the perfect role, they're never going to do this, is obviously Black Bolt from the Inhumans.
Oh, shit.
Because he doesn't talk and he's just a badass. And honestly, that's the best way to use Keanu. Even though I'm excited for the new Bill and Ted movie, I'll definitely, because he's just himself and that's a great role for him. And also he's been in talk for the Eternals. So maybe it's an Eternals Celestial that doesn't talk, but you want him fucking fighting and shit.
I think that he's got to have something with physicality, something where that's where he shines. The Matrix,
yep,
all physical,
thing. Yeah,
great. speed, all physical, great.
What role would you have given to the late Brandon Lee? That's the role for Keanu. Because he,
pretty much,
Anthony, what do you think?
I kind of like the idea of Black Bolt, but then he can't be. Is Black Bolt all that physical?
Mm-hmm. Not really.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what they would do with Keanu, to be honest with you.
Clearly, neither does he or them, because they haven't got him for anything.
I would have never predicted that Sylvester Stallone would be the whatever character he is in Guardians either.
Right. The one of the Reavers or Ravagers or whatever they are.
Yeah.
But that worked.
Or
great.
like even actually like any of their castings where you go, like Robert Redford, what the fuck? Or Glenn Close as the leader of the Nova Corps. What the fuck?
I love these castings though. I mean, fucking Michael Douglas, Michelle Pfeiffer, like it's amazing.
Or Kate Blanchett is Hela.
Yeah.
What?
Look, they want Angelina Jolie for Eternals. Get Keanu in on this, but I like that he's waiting for the right role because definitely he just can't have a lot of lines. That's all I'm saying. Minimal lines, more action.
I think the Surfer is probably the safest bet.
Surfer would be kind of badass. I could see him do it, but he'll be covered in like CGI silver. Maybe he becomes Norrin Rad as a human. Let's move on to Spider-Man: Far From Home. It is coming out June 2nd, and there's already spoiler-free social media reactions, and
Geek Boner.
They're positive, but they're always positive when it comes to a Marvel movie.
Sure,
but
yes, definitely.
They're always the same thing, and they
are always. And I love the Marvel.
We're
movies,
talking about hyperbole. This is where the hyperbole comes.
But the hyperbole for every Marvel movie pre-screening is just crazy.
Best movie ever.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
I love this movie.
That's pretty much what the internet is saying.
Basically every
right?
Twitter.
Yeah. But there's been certain things that have been repeated, certain details that have been very interesting. Here's everything to take away. Apparently, the ending is some crazy, will blow your mind ending that can't be missed. There's 2 post-credit scenes, and you don't want to miss them. So a lot of people reacting to the ending of this movie. I don't know what this means. Possibly the best version of MJ yet.
Oh, I did see that one a lot. The repeated Zendaya's great, and Jake Gyllenhaal.
Yes, that's the other one. Jake Gyllenhaal getting a lot of praise as Mysterio.
I have complete faith in both of those actors.
Yes, they're great. And Gyllenhaal, it's great because he would have made a great young Spider-Man had he been chosen, in the Tobey Maguire era. But he's always good in everything, and he transforms himself.
Let me ask Ruggs this, because I know he was very hard on Far From Home. What things do they need to improve from Far From Home that you would like to see in this movie? I just think
that you got to get the...
Because I wasn't the biggest fan of Far From Home either.
I just think that one of the things that they did with Far From Home is that they made, they did this little tonal thing where they made it Ferris Bueller's Day Off. They did it like they did a John Hughes movie. Yeah. And they made Peter Parker like a cool dude. And they made him like have... His whole desire was to be an Avenger and do and all that stuff, and it just didn't really seem like the guy that we know as the Peter Parker who's very grounded and is preoccupied with keeping his secret and not telling anybody, and nobody knows who he is, and that's and he has to kind of hide himself, like the fact that he's got these powers, all of these things that are so uniquely Peter Parker were gone. I think if you can restore some of that, but you can't. The cat's out of the bag. Aunt May knows everything.
Everybody knows.
Aunt May's hot. He gets the hottest girl in school.
Like all that stuff. Apparently,
how do you dial it back? I don't know. So like, I'm not really expecting them to right the ship.
Right.
I'm just like, all right, they're gonna make another one of these fucking movies, and I just hope that they don't keep piling on more. They've already like taken him too far one way. I just don't want them to keep going in that direction. I just think they either just put the brakes on that and let him kind of simmer in this area. Let it be that way.
I like that, yeah.
Or if you keep pushing him to be like, they're doing this thing where in the commercials, it's probably misdirection, where they're trying to say, oh, you're going to be the next Iron Man. And that's exactly the opposite of what should be said. He should be Spider-Man. He's a unique hero, more popular than Iron Man ever was in ever.
But in that universe,
yes, they've created this. Yeah, they've created this completely.
So they got to work in that, and I'm looking forward to see how they deal with the post Endgame. World.
he's got to carve out his own path and be his own person.
A lot of people are saying that it's better than Spider-Man Homecoming, but I've seen some that are saying they liked Homecoming better. It just depends what you're looking for, I guess. And also,
I don't know.
Yeah, also, they say expect some bizarre scenes. It demands repeat viewings, and it's a great epilogue.
That's a great.
Yeah, demands.
That's a
repeat
great
viewing.
one.
We
That's a
should
great
watch
one
this
for Marvel
over
to
and
push
over
out.
again.
Watch it over and over.
A perfect Avengers Endgame epilogue. So this is a nice way to close out Phase 4. A lot of people saying the most comic booky Marvel movie yet. But I've heard that again for other movies every time. But Jake Gyllenhaal, great Mysterio. It's getting me excited.
I did see those, and I did get a little bit more hyped. I was going, oh, this is going to be good.
They got something. There's some weird twisty thing that happens at the end that suddenly got me interested. So I have I have some hope that it will actually be good. The other Spider-Man thing happening on the internet this week, Ruggs, did you see this countdown of numbers with webs?
They started with a 4.
Yeah, so this was a little misleading and ultimately disappointing, maybe. We'll see. There was a number 4 in a web, and it looked a lot like the designs from the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies. And the rumor was this was Spider-Man 4, the comic book adaptation of what was supposed to be Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 4.
That's excellent conjecture.
Or maybe even Spider-Man 4 coming out in another form. And so Twitter was, and social media was crazy. Then the next day, you get a 3. And everyone's like, oh, fuck, it's just a countdown. What are they counting down to? What are they counting down to? Well, this is what it was. A little bit of a letdown, maybe not if you're a comic book fan, but J.J. Abrams and his son Henry Abrams are going to be writing a new Spider-Man miniseries that introduces a new villain.
This is a comic?
It is a comic book.
Oh.
It's a 5-part Spider-Man miniseries. Henry, his son, is 20 years old. Sarah Pichelli is doing the art. So they put out the cover. It's really nice. Sarah Pichelli's great. It's going to introduce a new villain called Cadaverous, who will cause all kinds of trouble for both Peter Parker. He's promising, you're going to see Peter like you've never seen him before.
Of course.
So on paper, sounds exciting. What I thought was interesting is the great Jerry Conway, who wrote Spider-Man in the 70s, some of the best runs. Ruggs, you know Jerry Conway, right?
Sure.
He tweeted some shit. Sure. Yeah. He tweeted a little bit of shade. He's like, J.J. Abrams is not writing a comic book. He's going to have a conversation with his son who will write the comic book, and they just put their name on it. And I kind of feel like that may be true.
It's probably true.
I don't know. But 20-year-old fucking Henry Abrams, has he, what's his pedigree? Has he written anything? It's not an adaptation.
Does it matter?
No.
Your dad's like a famous dude, nepotism at its finest.
Hey son, what would you want?
Is Marvel averse to putting people who've never written comics before on their labels?
Dad, I want to write a comic book.
They do that now all the time.
Well, son, let me see what I could do. I will call. So ultimately, kind of disappointing. People are like, "Oh, that's what that was." I might check it out, but
look who doesn't read superhero comics anymore for that reason.
Yeah. Not only we have all these movies coming out and superhero movies, the amount of superhero content on TV has exploded. There is yet another show about to debut in June, and it is The Boys from Amazon. They put out a first full trailer. Did you guys get to check out this trailer?
Yep.
Yeah. This is based on a comic that was put out by Wildstorm and then Dynamite. The trailer, really gory, really violent, and amazing use of a Spice Girl song. I will have to say, I will give it points. Anthony, what'd you think of this? The look of this?
It is violent. I noticed that it's a little CGI kind of violence.
It's a little bit of CGI blood everywhere. Yeah.
Which kind of takes you out of it. But overall, the overall concept, and I had a Wikipedia after what the concept really is, but I did get it from the trailer as well. I wanted to confirm. I like the idea of these heroes being a little crazier, a little, destructive, and then these normal people are getting together to just take these guys out. I like that concept. So in that sense, it is interesting.
The boys are a group of they're not powered?
Vigilantes.
Oh, they're vigilantes.
They're
they put there to put the corrupt superheroes in check.
Yeah, they're there to just take out these corrupt superheroes.
They get hired. They're like superhero mercenaries.
They're not even. Yeah, I don't even know if they're mercenaries. They're just people that have had enough.
I don't know what this particular version of The Boys is going to be.
Yeah.
I don't know what angle they're going to.
I didn't get the full angle, but I know that these guys aren't superheroes.
Right. The superheroes are like, there's a dude who turns invisible who's like a dick. They got to stop him. The violence and gore is kind of crazy. But it looks good. I've heard the book is really, really like pushed graphic content. It pushed the line of graphic content, which is surprising because Wildstorm was under DC when this was coming out. So like DC Comics was putting out a super fucking graphic violent book for a little bit. When
I was going to the comic book store when it was out, the guy would tell me, the guy who owned the store, he's like, you got to read this. It's so crazy. But then I would thumb through it and I go, this is too gross for me.
This is so violent.
I was like, I don't know if I'll enjoy this, but like, I mean, I think I bought a couple issues and like maybe read one or two and that was it.
Created by Garth Ennis. So if you're a fan of Preacher and his Hellblazer run, you kind of will get the sense of his sensibility, and he does some weird shit. But again, another fucking thing to watch that I'm going to try to watch, like Jessica Jones Season 3, which is out now. Let's get a quick watch update on the Netflix show. Anthony, how many have you watched?
One episode.
One.
But I am going to Vegas. Okay. So when the show comes out, I will be in Vegas, and I plan to try to watch a little bit on the flight.
Plane time. You can binge a bunch.
A little bit. I mean, not a ton because the flight isn't particularly long, but.
Bruggs, how many have you watched?
I don't know. I think 8.
Okay. I am 10 episodes in.
Oh.
Jesus Christ.
I just kind of You know what? I forgot that it was 13 episodes and I thought it was 10, and that kind of affected my viewing. I was like, oh, this is the last one. And then I was like, oh, wait, fuck. These are 13.
I'm actually enjoying it.
Thoughts so far, Anthony? What do you guys think?
Yeah.
Oh, one episode for me, so skip my thoughts.
Ruggs, thoughts so far?
I mean, it's a detective story.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Yeah. It's like a Batman detective story. It's like she's trying to catch a serial killer. It's like Seven or any of those movies, basically. Yeah. Or actually the best analogy is Sherlock Holmes.
Oh, yeah.
You got your Moriarty,
it is like
who's
a
the serial
Sherlock
killer.
Holmes. Yeah, absolutely.
And then you got Jessica Jones, who's like trying to hunt him down.
There's a lot of investigating.
And he's like 2 steps ahead of her every time.
A lot of manipulation, a lot of detective shit. I've been digging it. The music's really good this season. Performances are great. But I gotta, so far, standout, honestly, Carrie-Anne Moss, Jaren Hogarth's story is really good. And it's like in the last season, it was also very compelling. And, where it left off, she had ALS. I kind of like her storyline in this season.
I fast forwarded through that whole thing.
You don't like it this time? I'm really enjoying her fucking.
I was like, I'm not interested in seeing Carrie-Anne Moss, at the end of her life, trying to seduce this woman and ruin this guy's life.
Oh my God, I love that shit. She's like manipulating things, and she's just cold and fucking calculating.
Yeah, so I'm like, I know where this is going, so I don't need to I just fast forward through. I can tell what's gonna happen.
I'm digging it. I'm digging.
Like it's telegraphed too much, so I'm not gonna waste my time. I already know what's going to happen.
I like her cold calculating character. She does a good job. But yeah.
I had to tune that out.
Oh.
Yeah.
Whoa. What? You watching it?
Spoilers?
No, I didn't know I just tuned all that out just so that if there were spoilers.
No, I wasn't going to. I'm trying not to spoil it. That's all I wanted to say.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, we'll.
No, I definitely put some spoilers in there, but I mean,
that's
if
fine.
You've ever watched Jessica Jones, you know exactly what to expect.
I don't think you spoiled anything, really.
No, I like I said, I wasn't paying attention.
We'll have a full review once everyone is caught up on the last season. Should be fun. All right, let's take
probably in a week or two.
All right,
we'll do it.
Yeah, you got plane time.
Yeah, I probably can get it done by next week.
Plane time. Right on. All right.
We'll see.
We will be maybe next week. We're going to take a break, play some promos, and we'll be right back with the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers review. I never thought I'd be saying that.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
We'll get you back to your regularly scheduled podcast in just a minute. But we wanted to introduce ourselves. I'm Jason.
I'm Jeff.
And I'm Blake on this highly produced advertisement.
That's right. It's the History of Bad Ideas, a.k.a. Hobie. You can find us on Twitter at Bad Ideas Podcast and on Facebook at the History of Bad Ideas. But if you like a podcast roundtable with 3 to 5 guests, usually every week, depending on sick leave, talking about all things geek, including movies, TV,
I ain't getting paid for this shit.
Blake bitching about something and ranting, and comic books and anything else that we can think of. We have a top 5 list every week, along with a box office news, and somehow we have listeners, so they send us some feedback we answer every week. You can find us on iTunes, Stitcher,
Facebook,
Spotify,
and any good podcast app, because if you can't find us on that podcast app, it's not a good podcast app.
Damn straight. Roger says goodbye.
Goodbye.
Hey, hooligans, this is Michael.
This is Michelle.
This is Jeremy.
From Who the What Now?
The show about
strange stories from the internet. And Bigfoot came over and beat his ass. Oh my God. He knocked him around a little bit, and he just kind of went limp, and Bigfoot left.
Pop culture.
Jean-Claude Van Clam.
I thought
Jean-Claude Van Clam was supposed to be the alien in Predator, and did a jump splits and ended up with his batch right in the dude's face.
That's his
do I get the part?
In our crazy lives.
I'm like, oh, there's a cat on my back, and then all of a sudden I feel something. I feel a furry paw go down my ass crack. Just slide right down my ass crack. I was like, what are you doing?
You can catch us on all your favorite podcast applications.
Spotify.
iTunes.
Libsyn.
iHeartRadio.
Stitcher.
Your mamas. And wherever else they have quality podcasts.
So don't miss out on the next Who the What Now?
Doc and Nerd.
Listener, if you enjoy the show and you want to support and you want more show, join our fan club, jockandnerd.com/Patreon, where there's a bunch of tiers. You can, as little as $1 a month, or $3, or $5, or $10. Visit the fan club because you will get access to a bonus RSS feed, a whole other podcast feed that has the Jock and Nerd show come out early every week, the spin-off show come out early when I can, and then bonus movie reviews, instant reactions. This week, Anthony Jock Talk with Chaz.
Their bottom is very weak.
And our listener and supporter, Blake Braden. First time for Blake, right?
First time for Blake, yeah.
That's awesome. I love when you...
First time I think he's ever been on a podcast.
Really?
Yeah, he was good.
I'm so glad. I love when you get the listeners involved. Just like Jimmy Graben, man. Jimmy Graben used to do podcasting. I think we got the podcasting bug. We got him to bite the bug again. He's got the bug.
He's got the bug.
He's got the bug.
Quick for the audience that does anticipate this stuff, which some of you do. This week I had an episode with Brian Franklin, who's a friend of mine, who has his own podcast and his own website. It's a very sports-related podcast, so check that out if you're interested. But next week, there will not be a spin-off show. I'm taking a 1-week hiatus because I will be in Vegas, and I'm going to be tired, and I don't want to schedule anyone. So it'll return in 2 weeks.
Have
Hopefully.
fun in Vegas. And, of course, if you didn't go to Vegas, how would we vicariously live through your adventures?
Maybe I'll have some stories.
You better have some fucking stories, Anthony. Do it for the show. Just get into trouble.
You'll have some stories.
I want to hear I had to get bailed out one night.
Well, this will be, so the last time I went to Vegas, I was dating somebody.
Oh,
so this will be the first time in not that long, but 2 years that I've been single going to Vegas. So we'll see what happens.
Let me tell you about Tony, all right? Tony ruins lives.
Remember that, Vegas. Remember that.
Exactly.
Anyway, sign up. You get all sorts of bonus content at jockandnerd.com/Patreon. And if you give us $10 a month, this is the tier where you can pick any movie for us to review. And I've dubbed this tier, force Anthony to watch a movie that he's never seen. And it's been hilarious to see him squirm and sit through shit that he would never watch. However, this time I think it's backfired on me and Ruggs.
Oh, shit.
Because this Keithan Denkinger, loyal listener and supporter, has picked the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the movie from 1995.
Yeah, the original movie.
Which we are going to review on the show right now. We're filling the order. Here's your spoiler alert.
Strap yourselves in, you fucks. Spoiler time.
I don't know. Maybe somebody who's been waiting to watch this and doesn't want to get spoiled. So this one's sponsored.
Yeah, watch out.
Watch out.
You might learn something that gives away the plot of the movie.
Oh, God, and the crazy twist at the end. This one, Ruggs, do you think this backfired on us this time?
Well, I've watched tons of bad movies, but this one was rough. Yeah, it was a little rough for me.
It's a little rough. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers came out in 1995. Of course, based on the hit kids show that ran from 1993 to 1996 in the U.S., which, of course, is based on the Japanese Super Sentai series that has been running since 1975.
Oh, shit.
And is still going in Japan.
Yeah.
Season after season of Zords and these Sentai characters. This summer, June 1995, other movies that came out, just to put you back in that mind frame. Apollo 13, Tom Hanks, Batman Forever,
Casper?
Not Casper. Was that out in 1995? Pocahontas.
I think so.
Pocahontas came out in 1995. And Sylvester Stallone as Judge Dredd. Another comic book movie we should revisit, maybe.
94 was a much better year.
Casper. So Casper was 95 too. The only reason I remember that is I saw previews in either a magazine or a newspaper for Casper.
Did that get you excited?
And Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
Yeah.
And I was, as a 7-year-old, I went, this is the summer that dreams are made of.
Oh,
I'm going
my
to
God.
see both of these movies.
Okay, so you were 7 in 1995. For the listener, I missed the whole Pokemon Power Rangers thing in 95. I was in college experimenting with drugs and things, you know.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, this isn't for you.
This was not me or Rug's jam. I never would have watched this movie on my own. So, good.
Actually,
kudos to Keithan for getting me to watch something.
There's two things that I want to point out about this movie and in the Power Rangers in general. So, number one, Power Rangers were on TV, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So I watched the Power Rangers on TV because
Why?
it was not because it was a good show, but because it had kaiju in it.
Yeah, it was kind of
and a giant robot fighting the kaiju.
That's true.
So I would basically just every once in a while for a little kicking, little jolly, I would go and watch, the Megazord and fight this stupid thing or whatever, and then watch shit explode. And I like that because it's like man in suit, blah blah blah, good stuff.
Yeah.
The thing is, there's none of that in this movie.
That's
number one.
true. Absolutely
number
true.
2, this movie came out like a year after or something after Jurassic Park.
Yes.
So when you see the effects in this movie and how dismal they are, like you're like, holy fuckballs. They should have just done what they did on TV. The TV show's better than this.
Wow. All right, look.
We can get into that. That's a good point.
Let's get to the numbers. Rotten Tomatoes, 37%. 4.4 out of 10. This movie was made for, I don't have a production budget.
I got 15 mil.
Okay, that makes sense. 15 million. Opening weekend, it makes 13 million. Finishes at 38 million domestic. 66 worldwide. This movie's directed by this dude named Brian Spicer.
He should be kicking the balls every day for the rest
of his life. Has
of
done lots of television. Dude's still working. Lot of TV, not a lot of movies around this time. He also directed, what was the other? Oh, the McHale's Navy movie. And For Richer or Poorer, and like those were his only movies. Everything else,
no one gives a fuck about any of those movies.
He's literally done 1 or 2 episodes of almost every TV show for the past fucking 25 years. But the movie also stars half of the original cast from the TV. Am I correct? Or this was at the time the TV
most of the
cast?
No, I don't think it's the entire TV cast, but it was most of the cast.
So you have Karen Ashley as the Yellow Ranger, Johnny Young Bosch as the Black Ranger, Steve.
Yeah, they had to do a swap because
that's what I read.
The Yellow Ranger was Asian,
right,
and the Black Ranger was in black.
Yeah.
So they thought it was too racial.
So the Asian Ranger is now the Black Ranger, and the Asian and the Black. And I don't know. They flipped it.
Yeah, that's what they. Exactly
Steve Cardenas as the Red Ranger, Jason David Frank as the White Ranger, Amy Jo Johnson as the Pink Ranger.
Every kid my age's crush back then.
She was a cutie. David Yost as the Blue Ranger. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4. There were 6 fucking Rangers in this movie. And then I got to shout out Paul Freeman, who plays Ivan Ooze, the big bad guy, because he just seemed to be having a lot of fun in this movie. So this is the first Power Rangers production from Saban Entertainment not to feature any reused archive footage from Super Sentais. So
I was just going to say about that, since you mentioned it.
Yes.
as an adult,
yeah,
finding that out,
yeah,
that movie, the TV show was using stock
all
footage the whole
stock
time,
footage from
is
Japan.
fucking mind blowing. I thought that was all filmed. The longest time, I thought that was all filmed here,
which is probably why Ruggs, you felt the TV show had better fucking effects.
The TV show actually, Super Sentai is actually a lot better than Power Rangers by far. Yeah. It's taken a little bit more seriously. And you know, the way the stuff is filmed is a little bit better. The action sequences have a little bit more violence and they've been heavily edited. So Super Sentai, it's one of those uniquely Japanese cool things, like, you know, like Godzilla and all that stuff. So I was drawn to that. I hated any of the human scenes. The only thing that made it any palatable was that the fact that Amy Jo Johnson was cute.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's a cute chick at least. But like, and I think she was a gymnast, so she could actually.
Oh, she could do some of those flips and shit.
Yeah, she could do some flips and stuff. So I was like, that's kind of cool. But like, yeah, so I was familiar with the show, and that's the charm that it had when it was on TV, is that it was Japanese. They whitewashed it. They took all the Japanese actors
the American
out
version. I mean, it's not as much as a ripoff as an American port of the thing. But Super Sentai, you can also credit to inspiring fucking Voltron, Dragon Ball Z, tons of other stuff you like, anything with giant robots. I think a lot of it was inspired by the Super Sentai series, and I was just shocked that it's still going on.
It was brilliant because they transformed into the Power Rangers, and their faces were now hidden.
Right.
So now you could swap out any actors. You could do this in India. You could do it in anywhere. And
kind of a brilliant franchise.
Yeah.
So look, like I just said, this was not my jam. This is the first time I watched this movie. Anthony, take us back to 1995. You're 7 years old. What did the Power Rangers mean to you, and how did you have a tiny little chubby boner when this movie came out?
And first off, at 7 years old, I don't think I could pop a boner.
Huh?
I don't think
Nowadays, with the pheromones and the hormones.
I mean, for me, this is the show that was one of the big shows of my childhood. I remember watching this every week. I remember one day, it was like a Friday, and I didn't understand the concept of shows having seasons and eventually ending.
Yeah.
So I turned on Power Rangers at the normal time. Wasn't on.
Not even a rerun. Just nothing.
Something else was on.
Oh, my God.
And I remember just bawling out to my dad, going, what? Like, just being like appalled that there's something else was on, and he had to like placate me by being like, I'll buy you a toy. Like that was like I was so angry that Power Rangers wasn't on. So suffice to say, when they announced a movie, I was insanely excited. Like, I remember waiting in line to get a seat for this movie.
Wow.
Like, it was a packed theater too. And we went on a Saturday afternoon. It was a packed theater. So, I mean, what did Power Rangers mean to me? I mean, it was, like I said, and like Rug Boy actually mentioned, I think the reason why I was drawn to it was because a lot of, like, they blow up into a giant robot and then they fight a kaiju.
Fucking
I remember seeing the live, like, theaters type touring show of Power Rangers at the United Center.
Oh, they did one of those?
They did one of those too.
Oh, shit.
And like, they had the human in the costume fighting the giant screen, which was the robot.
Oh, okay.
It was interesting. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, go ahead.
It's basically, I grew up with Voltron, and this was a live action Voltron.
It kind of was. Really shitty live action Voltron is what
I do remember vividly. This is another memory before we get into the movie, where my uncle was with me and he loved martial arts. And I think he was just placating me, but I was like, you like martial arts, you like Kung Fu, you got to check out the show with me. It's called Power Rangers. And he was like, fine, I'll sit down and watch it with you. He watches it with me, and I'm like, isn't this awesome? And by the end of it, he goes, that's really bad. It's terrible. Like, this is awful. I didn't like it at all. I'm just like, you don't understand martial arts then. This is great.
So did you watched it back then. How well did you remember this? Did you rewatch it recently?
So I was going to do this entire review based on nostalgia because that's how well I remember this.
Which would have been interesting.
Then I decided to catch bits and pieces and kind of just refresh my memory on things. Yeah. So are we going in opening thoughts?
Yeah, give me your opening thoughts of the movie.
I'll do it in two ways. As a kid, 10 out of 10.
Of course. Yes.
The best movie ever.
Sure.
Legitimately the best movie ever. The end
How long was it the best? How long is it the best movie ever in your life? Like when at one point did you realize
this was
that it
not
wasn't
the best?
Well, the problem is I even bought the VHS.
Oh shit! Wow. Okay.
But the problem is after I turned maybe 10 or 11, I never watched it again. So it always was ingrained as the best.
As a 7-year-old, you had to.
As a 7-year-old, as the best.
Memory, yeah.
So the best movie ever. I love the fight scenes. I love the end where the giant CGI robots, which I didn't recognize were terrible CGI, are fighting. Like all of it. It was great.
Yeah.
As an adult now, being objective, it's probably one of the worst movies ever made.
Yeah, it's up there. It's definitely up there.
Oh shit! Yeah, go ahead.
Like when I saw Masters of the Universe, I thought it was shitty.
Yeah.
Like I knew it was bad. And then when I watch it now, I'm like, it's not that, it wasn't as bad as I remember it. This is the complete opposite. It was like, I was too young to enjoy that movie. But like, this movie is like, you have to be a child.
You have to.
Yes. I had to remind me
I was
of
7.
Yes, you have to. I mean, this movie reminded me of Masters of the Universe a little bit.
As
Also,
Rugboy mentioned, and he said it, but I'll just echo it. The thing that makes it's like this movie would have been fun as an adult if it would have just taken on the schlock that was the TV show.
Yeah.
It's like the first 30 minutes of this is quintessential Power Rangers.
Yeah.
Like they're in the suits, they're fighting, there's all this weird wire work, they're announcing what they're gonna do before they do it. Every fucking motion, every swing
whoosh.
of their arm has a whoosh. Yeah. Like that's all great. But the thing that got me into it even as a child was the fact that it was men in suits, right?
Yeah.
And they bastardize all of that and just go, let's go CGI with all this. And the CGI is so god awful.
Yeah.
It's like PlayStation 1 quality.
Oh my god, it's a really bad video game.
This is the same year that Jurassic
in
Park.
1995.
Like after Jurassic Park.
15 million.
It's a good point you say that. 'Cause in the movie, they make a Jurassic Park reference.
Oh, they do, don't they? That's
when
right.
When they're on the planet, they go, welcome to Jurassic Park. And I'm like, wait, why are you drawing attention to a better movie?
Yeah, like, why are you drawing attention to, like, the fact that your CGI sucks dog shit out of a fucking straw?
I just love how they talk in really bad one-liner jokes. Like, that's the
did you
entirety
notice
of that.
when they do the fight scenes, you can tell that the lines they're saying are voiced over.
Oh, yeah, no, there's so many great moments in this movie.
When they're not wearing the mask,
Yes,
they're voiced over.
There are so many moments where you're like, they shouldn't be able to hear each other right now. Like, how are they even hearing each? They're skydiving and talking to each other.
Oh,
She's
yeah.
standing next to an open airplane, just talking normally.
How about the one scene where in the Yellow Ranger's hurt? I believe it's the Yellow Ranger, and the Blue Ranger goes to check on her. So to check on her, he does like 20 backflips and goes, "Are you okay?"
I love when they decide to backflip instead of run, which would just be quicker.
That's faster.
Yes, the backflipping is a little bit faster. And then he hits the pose, and like there's somebody turns to the camera. Ruggs, is this the first time you've seen this movie?
I was dating a girl once.
Get out.
And her nephew was into the Power Rangers.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So I think I saw like they were watching it on DVD or something, and I watched I saw the CG fight. I'm like, this is bullshit. Like I was like actually like, okay, cool, like whatever. I've seen the Power Rangers before, and then the CG was so bad. I was like, just fucking put the guys in the suit.
I don't know why they.
Why would you do
that's
this?
That's a really good point because it cuts back between the live shot of them in the little cockpit and then to it looks like a cartoon shitty video game.
It was so bad. Like I mean, it was bad.
I would have rather have seen dudes in suits. Absolutely,
of course.
Yeah.
Well, I think when they made the movie, like, oh, we have a movie budget.
Yeah,
let's play around. Did you guys catch? Rugboy may appreciate this more. Did you catch the miniature train?
Oh yeah, there's a lot. That whole town was miniature. Yes, there's a lot of miniatures.
They cut to random miniatures with the train and the buildings. They're such bad miniatures.
There was some really. I was actually trying to figure out, is that CG or is that a miniature? I couldn't figure it out.
But if you had miniatures, it would have been great to see a person actually smash it.
The funny thing is, like, as a Godzilla fan, I saw better miniatures in the 60s and 70s.
Shit.
Oh, yeah, that's deplorable. But, like, this is the thing. I was like, I'm watching this movie, and then I'm like, okay, they've lost Zordon, whatever. Zordon or whatever.
Zordon, yeah.
Zordon dies. They lose their powers.
He doesn't die.
He's dying.
and then they become streaks of light and they fly through the universe.
Really
and I'm
shitty
like,
streaks of light that are just painted
then they
on.
land on this planet where they're supposed to seek this new power.
Kratos.
And then this hooded figure appears. And for some reason, it's a hooded figure, but then it reveals that it's a half-naked chick. And I was like, oh! And she never puts the thing back on again. She just reveals herself as half-naked witch lady. And I was like, okay, at least I thank God that there was a perverted director, because now at least I got something to look at. And I was like, this is really inappropriate for a kid's film, but I'm glad they did it.
Anthony, when you were 7, first of all, the character.
Like, what were you thinking of when you saw it?
Dulcea, played by
I got to admit,
Gabrielle Fitzpatrick. Can I just tell you, she's fucking smoking. Amazing body on Dulcea.
I got to admit, as a 7-year-old, I knew what was sexy, and that was sexy for me. I was like, "Ooh, this is good." But as an adult now, looking back on that, the reason why I think they did that is because she's basically she knows the entire plot.
Yeah, she's
of the movie.
She's
just the exposition, and they had to make her interesting. So they're like, let's make her hot in this fucking movie.
She doesn't really do anything. She just takes glitter and blows it into a flame. And then leaves.
Yeah.
She turns into an owl.
Yeah, she was an owl. And she's like, I can't leave here or I'll age. So, she's just
why
there.
Why did she have that cloak? I don't know.
So she could turn around and reveal herself.
So she could hide from the trees.
Yes.
She never got the cloak back. She was I thought she had the cloak for a reason.
She is Xena Warrior Princess sexy.
I don't know. It was so awkward.
Also, this is the same scene where they have the Wizard of Oz flying bird people, which was very creepy.
Funny. I mean, you had that. I did enjoy, as a kid, I enjoyed both of those, but I did enjoy the fact that in the first fight scene, these guys just explode into ooze.
Oh my God, there's so much slime in this movie also. Kids, that was the thing in the 90s, Nickelodeon. People, they love fucking slime.
Did you guys feel like you were watching X-Men Apocalypse?
No.
With that worse?
I liked...
Wait, I gotta call out something in this, and I don't know if anybody's gonna get this reference. Okay. But the kid's dad who gets the ooze, right? Yeah. That guy looks exactly like the guy who owns the t-shirt store from Jersey Shore. I thought it was him. I thought it was him.
That is actually a really good... Oh, my God. That might be the same guy.
How could this guy look exactly like
the Jersey Shore? I wouldn't know.
That is the t-shirt store guy.
Is it?
No, it's not.
No, it's not. But I mean, it's so similar. Oh, my God.
I was like, it's too close. Has anybody else made that comparison?
We'll have to investigate.
No one has, because no one's talked about
nobody's talking about this movie. Look, let me tell you, I knew what I was getting into. I knew, I was aware of the Power Rangers, and I'm like, it's exactly what I expected. A slightly longer episode of Power Rangers.
Well, that's actually, that's why the movie is bad. In a way, is because it's actually not what you expect.
No, it should have been more like the TV show.
It should have been more like the TV show, except just ramped up to 11.
Yeah, I think that what they should have done is just done what they do on the TV show on a higher scale, in a larger scale, with better,
better suits.
Better decorations. But what do you call it? Miniatures.
Better miniatures and and
I think I mentioned earlier, but I think it starts out pretty good in terms of what you a Power Ranger show. They start off skydiving.
Okay, can we talk about the beginning, because it's hilarious?
But I mean, they randomly start skydiving.
Yes.
This is.
There's no explanation.
No explanation. But this
charity.
Is Power Rangers.
It's a charity.
Okay, but then also they start rollerblading.
Yes,
and they're doing all their flips rollerblading, and you're like, okay, this is if you are a Power Rangers fan, you know that all they do is flip around. So let's just put them in different situations where they're going to flip around.
I feel like they just had to put in these mandatory 90s extreme sports for the sports people.
The whole thing goes downhill when they go to the other planet.
Did you watch the new Power Rangers? I think we did. Right?
I have not seen the new one.
I did watch it.
Is it better or worse than this?
Oh, it's 1,000 times better than this.
I would assume so.
Yeah.
I got to be honest. I mean, we'll get into our ratings later, but this is probably the worst movie we've ever talked about.
Probably, absolutely. This is all due to Keith and Denkinger.
It's like if you watch Mac and Me, that's the worst movie I think that exists.
That was a bad movie. We talked about that on 365.
But is this worse than Mac and Me?
Whoa, it's close.
Oh, here, let's say that. Is it worse than a movie we've reviewed on here, Howard the Duck?
Howard the Duck's way
I think
better
Howard the
than
Duck
that.
is more entertaining than this movie, at least. I don't know. It's a little edgier. Can I just ask a question? In the very beginning, they're jumping, and this is for the town of Angel Grove, which 6,000 years ago, Ivan Ooze decided to pick Angel Grove and to be in an egg. Of
course.
For some reason. But this is... it's a charity event. It's the Jumpathon to save the observatory.
Oh, shit.
First of all, they love their observatory. Second of all, how do you raise money jumping out of a fucking plane? I don't understand how any of this works.
Come on, be creative.
But then, yes, instantly, then they're just on rollerblades and they find the egg. I got to give credit to Paul Freeman as Ivan Ooze. He reminded me a lot of Skeletor in Masters of the Universe. What's that dude's name, Ruggs, who played him? I just had his name.
You asked with Skeletor?
Yeah.
Oh, shit. Franklin
Jella, clearly having fun in that role. Paul Freeman having a blast with this over-the-top Ivan Ooze, but it's just hilarious because sometimes he's British, sometimes it sounds like he's Southern, so I don't know what the accent is supposed to be, but the lines are great. So yeah, I was in for, but I secretly though I would watch this like porn. Like I didn't want my wife to walk in and I'd have to explain why I'm watching Power Rangers. Like I would turn it off. Because I'm like, I just don't worry about this. I can't explain why I'm watching this right now.
Yeah, I made sure that no one I knew was around.
It's embarrassing to watch. I'm like
there was no one coming.
I checked outside the window.
There was no deliveries coming.
I had to look down the street. I was
no
like,
one was gonna.
How old is Keithan Deckinger?
Keithan, I don't know.
Do we know how old
He's
he is?
probably the age that grew up with this. I'm not sure. Keithan, how old are you? I can't hear you.
All right. Well, I'm going to make a comparison.
Okay.
Here. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. It's a TV show that got converted into a movie. It was made for kids who watch the TV show. And what do you compare it to in terms of quality, money spent, I guess awareness? Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles came out in 1990.
Oh yeah.
And as campy as that movie is, I feel like that movie has so much artistry in it.
It does.
And is every bit as watchable as it when I first saw it. In fact, I admire it even more now.
I mean, you want to talk about man in suits, those animatronics. You never saw anything like that. They were really good.
There was a precedent where someone had carved out a path 5 years prior.
Yeah, true.
What could be done with a kid's property. And this is just like, for this to like be so like, I don't know, just see like, it pales in comparison to the TV show that it is.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely
surprising. And
so I can't imagine your parents or any person taking you to the movies and not be wanting to slit their wrists while they're sitting there watching.
Oh shit!
Like I feel bad for every parent that took a kid to the movie.
At least there was.
I don't know who took me, my mom or my dad. But.
Yeah, ask your mom about this.
So apparently this is all filmed in Australia and it ran over budget and ran late and they had to film the show while they were there in Australia. They went right back to like filming the TV show.
And apparently, I think you mentioned it, but just to reiterate, the first time that they didn't use stock Sentai footage.
So these guys now they're wearing these 40-pound suits. Now, I don't know how many times in the show they actually had to wear the suit, but clearly they had to wear it a lot more. Fucking heavy-ass suits. And like there's a whole scene where they're just walking through the forest for like 5 minutes. I'm like, what? Are they going to get anywhere? What's going on here? And then just the fucking one-liners are amazing. You ooze, you lose. Want to play leapfrog?
I just like that the White Ranger or whatever just immediately after getting their animal totem, he just stares into the camera and says, Ninjetti.
Ninjetti.
I don't even know what that means. We have no idea what Ninjetti
awesome
is.
Name.
Do they know what Ninjetti is? Does no one explain what Ninjetti is? Is there a power? Like, what does it do? Nobody knows.
I love how they morph from like not having like scarves on their heads, and then they go Ninjetti, and then they just have scarves on their heads. Like they're not in the quite complete outfit.
The transformation is basically lifting up a thing.
Yeah, it's putting a hood over.
Yeah.
But let me ask you this. Frog Zord? How is this useful? Come on. Frog Zord? Really?
He used the tongue.
Use the tongue, yeah.
He did use the tongue. Fucking, it's just hilarious. Everyone is like cool animals, like falcon, bear, wolf. He's like frog. I was like, oh boy, he's a fucking frog.
Did that add anything to the movie?
What, the
do you
Zords?
think? The fact that they had new Zords.
Oh, these are new Zords?
So as a kid, I loved it.
Okay, baby Anthony. Like,
I was like,
They traded, but like they traded up dinosaurs
for animals,
for
yeah.
like just like a frog,
right,
and a crane. Like, you know what the fuck a crane is when you're a kid.
That threw me through. As a kid, I was like, whoa, what are they doing?
Oh, look at these Zords.
Oh, that's cool.
It was live action Voltron, which was one thing. Like when they're sliding into the Zords, I was like, oh fuck, this is like Voltron. But even I've watched some of like the Sentai like quick clip videos, and the whole thing, is it a thing? It's like them playing with like plastic toys. This is the aesthetic, but it's on purpose. You know, all their guns and things like in the show, it just looks like it's a big toy commercial, and they're just like plastic laser toy guns. It is for kids.
It's for kids, and the thing too is, as a kid, they made you buy all the individual.
There it is.
Animals.
This
or whatever.
is just the toy commercial.
Dinosaurs, and then they would connect, and then you could create a Megazord, and then they add add-ons to it. It was perfect kid marketing.
Just like, I mean, it's Voltron all over again.
And the toys were absolute dog shit.
The toys were bad.
Like the figures suck, and the Zords suck. Like Anthony doesn't know because he didn't have Voltron. But
Voltron's the best.
When you got that Voltron was $300.
Die-cast metal.
It was made out of metal. And it fucking was beautiful.
It really is nice.
And it still is beautiful.
I would buy that if I could find it.
And these things were such pieces of shit because I was like, okay, you know, they don't make Voltron toys anymore. Maybe I'll buy a Megazord. So I went to the toy store going, let me see and I'm like, I'm not buying this. It doesn't, I mean, it's obviously made for, I mean, when I bought Voltron, I was a kid but it was a completely different aesthetic. So I didn't even like the toys.
I mean, what do you think? Like, it's kind of an art, like this performance, this kind of Sentai performance, like the way, like you have to.
Wait. In this movie?
Well, I'm talking about Power Rangers in general, the whole genre where you have to make a movement with every word you say because your face is completely covered. Otherwise, how else will people know you're talking?
Yeah.
So
it's very Japanese.
It's very Japanese.
Ninja Turtles did a lot of that too. Pantomime.
Oh, that's a good point. But their mouths moved and shit.
Yeah, that's a great point. I totally forgot that Ninja Turtles came out and Ninja Turtles
5 years before.
At least, and the first one had a very dark undertone.
Yeah. They kind of elevated it a little bit.
Then the next two, the third one's just awful.
Yeah, but this is just, I mean, at least that, you know, they kind of made it a little more sophisticated Ninja Turtles to where parents and adults go watch it. This is clearly just, they don't give a shit about the parents.
Well, this is clearly just schlock. I mean, at least with Ninja Turtles, it was legitimately funny. There was great line, like Michelangelo and, what's his name? Who's the guy that loves pizza? Michelangelo. He's hilarious. And the little rivalry with Raphael and Leonardo, where this is just, I mean, they're not even.
They're not characters. They're not people. They're just
they're just turning the schlock up to 11.
That's why Ivan Ooze has like the most personality in this whole movie.
He's actually the best thing in the movie.
I loved Ivan. Every time Ivan Ooze was on, was hilarious. Let me ask you this. So in the movie, Ooze comes out, and then he has this ooze that mind controls people and adults and parents, and somehow has time to open up a production facility that puts them in bottles and has a graphic designer with labels on the bottles and get them out, gets a distributor.
He's got mind control.
Like he went on Shark Tank and got a distributor, made a deal, and the shit is everywhere. I was very question how this happened. How does that happen?
Listen, you got a guy that's got the power to produce unlimited amounts of purple bukkake to throw at
He's
people.
got mind control, but yet the kid just whistles and he snaps all the kids out of the mind control. Like, oh shit! That's how you get snapped out of the mind control. And the kids are holding the parents back. Anyways, it's fucking Power Rangers.
Oh, you just maybe remind me of when the lady in the bikini takes the things and spins them around and makes a noise and it annoys the birds and they run away.
She defeats all the birds.
With what the hell is that weapon? What is that thing?
I don't know.
It's like a whistle through a staff.
Oh, it was like a flute thing. I also love how he threw in the beginning where he throws his sword, but there's a laser at the end of the sword. So Why didn't you just make it a laser?
My favorite ridiculous thing is the Batman type. What's it called? Where he you can latch onto something.
The grappling gun where it's really slow wire work.
Yeah.
That's really.
They announce it and then it goes, and he just slowly sliding up towards his enemy. He's like,
I kind of love all the fun corkscrew kicks and the really bad wire work.
The White Ranger has some wire work where he's just literally kicking in air, perpendicular to the ground.
Yeah.
I was trying to figure out what this whole Ninjetti thing was.
Ninjetti? Anthony, can you explain Ninjetti? What was Ninjetti?
Dude,
what does Ninjetti mean to you?
Like, when you were a kid, what did you think?
Were you excited by
Ninjetti?
Ninjetti?
You're just like, they're going to get new powers?
As a kid, I just went, that's a great word.
Ninjetti! Yes!
They're cool.
Yes.
Ninjetti. I just think, like, okay, they go to the planet, right? Then they get the dust, and then the dust produces it gives you your astrological sign or whatever that your powers
your animal
are supposed
totem,
to be.
yes.
And then you got to walk to that tower, and then when you get there, it tests you, right, by producing other things for you to kill.
Also, they said everyone who's tried this has perished. It's very dangerous.
So then they ended up defeating these
the
fucking
weird
looking thing, and then they just automatically get Ninjetti powers.
Then she's like, Ninjetti! Also, the dinosaur bones that came to life.
Where do the Zords come from?
The Zord... Well, where were they? They came at the very end when they needed them. Were they just hanging out in space somewhere? They came out of nowhere.
Ninjetti Zords.
They were Ninjetti Zords.
They're magic.
I do really want them to make a live-action Voltron after watching
I felt
this.
like there was a whole piece of the movie missing there.
It wasn't missing. Nobody
gave a
Nobody
fuck.
made it. You have a dad and a kid that you just don't care about. It's hilarious.
Why are they in the movie?
That whole storyline.
Why is he not folding shirts at the shore store?
Yes, and why wouldn't Ooze use the parents to do stuff instead of he's just like, oh, go kill yourself? You got a whole army.
Man, I would love to somehow edit Jersey Shore into this movie and make it.
That could go viral, Ruggs. I love when they backflip instead of run. It's great. But, I mean, here's the thing. Does it even matter that it's a bad movie? Because they knew exactly who their audience was.
I just think it's... Power Rangers is a thing, right?
Oh, yeah.
It's like a huge worldwide thing. And for this movie to be this bad, it boggles my mind. I'm like, how could they have fucking screwed this up? I mean, they didn't. I mean, it made its money back. Again, Anthony was happy when he saw it. But, I mean, it doesn't stand the test of time. It does not.
It does not.
In any shape or form.
No, it's...
the only thing it's got going for it is Amy Jo Johnson with her belly shirt on and then the half-naked chick.
It's fucking hot, bro.
That's it.
Dulcea is sexy.
Let me make one more comment.
Yeah.
This was something I saw in another review, and I was like, oh, that's genius. That's great. The music cues in this are so funny.
Yeah.
They were using some classic rock here.
Oh, they opened with Red Hot Chili Peppers' Higher Ground.
Well, that one, but then the first fight scene is like, action boy now,
oh, yeah.
action girl now.
Yeah, that's right.
And then the last music cue, or the music, suddenly the movie becomes an 80s movie, and they start playing some sort of 80s music, where they're looking at the fireworks.
Oh,
you remember
that? Yes. It's like an 80s, typical 80s ballad movie.
You're us,
yes.
One dream we're made of.
God, if this movie came out 10 years earlier, I could excuse all of these things. But
this is a movie in the mid-90s.
Yes, 1995. It makes no sense. And you got Go Power Rangers. That's still pretty catchy.
No, the Go Power Rangers is an all-time.
Oh, let me ask you this. What about this? Ay. Anybody, what is that? Why is he?
Oh, the Alpha 5 always does that. That's his. If you watch a show, he does it all the time.
I figured he did it, but he did it a lot.
The thing I didn't understand is why does Zordon look different when he's
in
like a fat guy when he looks like he's in the tube, and when he's laying there
he looks different. I didn't understand that either. Even as a kid, I went, "What? There's something wrong here."
Terribly inconsistent.
Are his lips supposed to not match up to what he's saying sometimes? I don't know.
Yeah, nobody. Yeah.
I don't think they really checked for that.
They did that on purpose with the Rita Repulsa and Goldar and all that stuff because
those are different people voicing them.
Because in the Sentai series, they're all Japanese actors.
Oh, right. Yeah. I liked Rita Repulsa.
So they're dubbed. Their voices are always dubbed.
She's sassy. Rita Repulsa.
Can you believe that Bryan Cranston played Zordon
in the new one?
In the new one,
Yeah.
So the new one is 49% on Rotten Tomatoes, 5.2.
The new one is
Not much of a
as
difference.
good as like the amount better that movie is to this is like leaps and bounds.
Wow.
It's actually, you can watch it. I mean, it's very formulaic and it's underwhelming.
But obviously better production and effects and the suits.
There's so many. The thing that you remember about the new Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, or they call it Power Rangers, I think, is that it's like there's like at least, I'm going to say 10 references to Krispy Kreme. It's like a commercial for Krispy Kreme.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do actually remember a lot of those.
I got to share some of these reviews from back in the day. This is Roger Ebert.
Oh, God.
Gave it only half a star out of 4, saying that it is, quote, as close as you can get to absolute nothing and still have a product to project on screen.
Wow. That's dead on.
Comparing it to synthetic foods and brightly marketed packaging with no nutritional content. Yeah, it's junk
That's
food.
actually a good, a good review in that the movie, the reason why it was this bad is that it was just a product.
Yes.
They literally were like, just make something. People will eat it up. We have to continue the brand.
Yeah, just keep it going.
I mean, like, this is the thing. There's like B movies.
Yeah.
Like the Toxic Avenger that are better than this movie. There's like terrible movies that are actually more watchable than this.
The funny thing though is like it's a B movie. Like it's definitely a B movie, but maybe I'm wrong. And this is maybe my childhood nostalgia coming in. But I felt like that was almost an A property at that time. Like it could have been something.
They were huge.
Especially
It
for
was
kids.
huge.
For
It
kids,
was
kids
huge
loved
for
it.
kids.
Yeah.
The awareness and the popularity was there, and they barely
It deserved better than this.
Yeah,
That's
they
all
didn't
I'm
care
saying.
to capitalize on it too much at all. They were like,
Well, they did. They just didn't know how to do it.
Yeah.
I think they wanted to capitalize on it, or they wouldn't make the movie. I just don't think the people behind making the movie had any sort of creativity other than just put something out.
I mean, it's also a rare case where you have the TV actors in the movie also, like your Star Treks and shit.
Was the lady different from the show? Yeah, right?
Which lady?
The evil lady. I forgot her name.
Rita Repulsa?
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
It was a different
Yes.
actress. Yeah.
Yes.
I couldn't figure out why that was different as a kid.
You're like, what happened to Rita Repulsa?
Yeah, like, why does she look different?
Zordon looked the same? Was that the same guy? What
Zordon?
Yeah.
I don't think Zordon was the same
What about
either.
Bulk and Skull?
Those were the same.
Those
yeah.
are the same. Those are the actual Bulk and
Those
Skull.
Bulk and Skull were the actual same.
Did you like Bulk and Skull? What was their roles on the show?
They were the same guys.
just
They
like
were
the
they were like
dummies?
dumb
Comic relief.
Yeah, dumb bullies.
They jump out of the plane and like the
They were basically the addition. Them and putting it like in the high school setting was like the American way, the way they Americanized it.
Okay. I put a video in the show notes. There's a video that shows you, it's like 8 minutes, and it shows you clips from all the Super Sentai series from Japan from 75 to now. And you see, like, sometimes the kids are younger. Sometimes they're in high school, and then you see the graphics get better, and you see, like, there's video game stuff. It's actually kind of neat to see the way it developed in Japan. But it was always the same kind of, like, animal avatars and stuff, so...
When I used to spend a lot of time in the comic book conventions, I would see fan groups that were super dedicated, and these are grown-ass people, into just the Japanese Super Sentai, not the American. They would they would stick their middle fingers up.
They
at
probably,
that shit.
yeah.
Yeah, so
they're like, this is not Super Sentai, man. This is the real one.
So they were like always telling me like the skinny on the Super Sentai being 10 times better than the shit that they make here, and the American Power Rangers are garbage.
They beat Marvel to a post-credit scene. I thought that was pretty progressive. There's a little mid-credit scene where Rita and the other dudes, they were trapped in the snow globe.
Oh yeah,
they come back. Goldar is seated on Lord Zed's throne. And
Ferris Bueller did a post-credit
That's
scene.
true,
Too.
yes. But
Goldar sitting on the
and then
throne.
he's like, because they came back. Oh my God, the lines are so bad. So here's the other thing I noticed, though. This is why I asked, does it matter if the movie's even any good? Most of the reviews I see are people who are like, I loved this when I was a kid. And I just still love it. And that's all, over and over again. Love this movie. Great memories watching it when I was a kid. Love this movie.
Well, I feel like if you in bringing childhood nostalgia.
Yeah.
It's even if something's bad as a kid, if you loved something as a kid, like I loved not only this, I've loved like Godzilla.
Right.
And even looking back, I can be like, yeah, those were bad.
Yeah.
But I don't I don't reverse my love for that either. It's a weird, it ingrains in you, I think. When you find something as a kid that you love, you'll love it forever.
Yeah.
You know? It's something for me, even like teams. Like I loved like the Bulls and the Bears and the Cubs.
Sure.
And I'll love those teams forever.
No matter
even
what,
if they keep sucking.
Yeah.
I'll still love them.
I don't know. It's for me when I was a kid. Remember with the Nicholas Hammond Spider-Man?
Yes. Big white afro
I would
Spider-Man.
pray for that to come on TV so I could see Spider-Man. And now I have no love for it at all.
Oh, is that the Spider-Man where it was from the 70s?
Yes, where he shoots a big rope.
Okay, that I remember watching that as a kid and thinking this was bad.
I love that as a kid just because it was Spider-Man.
But now, do you have love, like the same level of love for it, or you still can't?
I think it's better than Power Rangers now. I don't know.
Well, but that's the thing. You watched Power Rangers as an adult.
Yes.
It's tough to compare something as an adult to something you loved as a kid.
It's just this. It's this a weird product.
It's like a weird like time and space thing where you're like, this wasn't like, and as a kid you you just are like, this is amazing. This is the best. Everything is the best. If you find something you're into and they make a movie out of it, it's the best.
They could have elevated it a little bit, but clearly they were like, you know what? Fuck it. Just put some shit on screen. We're fine. Let's move on. We got to finish this season.
I think it was a big misunderstanding of what the TV show really was.
Oh, okay.
Like, remember when you went to go see Transformers, the movie in the theater, Ron? Like, the quality of the animation was like maybe a tad better, but like the scope of the movie, and the fact that everybody dies.
Yes, the scope was huge. It was very serious.
Yeah, and they just fucking...
And this is an animation. That would have been a way to do this, but I still feel like it stuck to the brand.
Animation would have been the wrong move.
No, you couldn't do Sentai in animation.
Because it's all about men in suits. I think, like I said, I give them credit for knowing their audience, knowing the brand. They stuck to it, but...
No, I disagree
what
with
you
that,
said
Ron.
is, outside of them not having the men in suits, they veered away from it.
They veered away from the brand.
Where I was like, oh, well, this is like, I expected like a long episode of the show. Like they could have taken 3-episode arc of the show and just fucking made a movie. But it's interesting that from your perspective, they did veer away. So it was probably but everyone loved it universally back then.
Well, no, not. I mean, the kids.
Yeah.
Me and all my friends loved it. I don't think any of the
kids that were like, "This is not my Power Rangers."
I mean, that's not a thing as a 7-year-old.
No, I guess not.
Did you have the Mandela effect when you watched it? Or
do you remember things differently that were better than what actually happened?
Yes. Yes. No, rewatching it, I rewatching the key parts. I went, oh wow.
I don't remember it that way.
I don't remember the dialogue being this bad. And I don't remember like the over the top like
every movement.
Yeah, like all that stuff. It's like, oh man, this is bad. This is actually legitimately bad.
You know, the one thing that did that to me, this is when I realized that I could love something on my kid, but was fucking watching the original MacGyver again. I remember as a kid thinking it was the most fucking clever shit.
Oh, is it not clever?
It is not good at all.
I watched that as a kid, and I thought he was clever as fuck. And I haven't touched it since.
I remember trying to watch an episode. I was like, wow, this is really bad. How did I think this guy was actually clever? It's not good. But you know,
another show that I've watched that might not age very well is Xena.
Oh,
I thought that was pretty awesome. As a
don't
kid.
tell me Xena Warrior Princess is not good.
Oh, I don't know. There wasn't there a Hercules?
There was
show
Hercules first, and then Xena, or the other way around.
I loved both of those shows.
Me too.
I used to watch Xena all the time.
Do you think they've aged well?
Do you think it holds up?
No, I mean, look, I think that everything's changed in TV. It's like TV used to be dog shit. So like,
that's a good point.
Now it's like legit. Like there's legit production value to stuff. Like you gotta think about it. Like Xena was out on like channel, was it WB?
Yeah.
And it was like when it was in the dregs where where TV shows would go to die in syndication.
Yeah.
So they had like no money. And then they put this together, this action pack. Remember they had it with like William Shatner with some kind of fucking TV show. I forgot what it was.
TJ Hooker?
And they had Rising Sun. Remember that one? With like the guy who did karate. And then they had Xena. And then they did this like mythological block with Hercules and Xena. And that caught on. Everything else fell by the wayside. I think it was called Tech Wars with William Shatner.
Oh, Tech Wars.
And then there was Rising Sun. I believe.
I loved Xena and Hercules.
Was it called Rising Sun or something Suns? It was like something Vanishing Suns. Yes, Vanishing Sun, not Rising Sun. It was like a 4-show block, and those two survived. And I like Xena. Actually, I think, you had Sam Raimi.
Oh, that's right.
Was a co-producer.
Yeah, Ted Raimi was on the show sometimes.
And there's a lot of the beginnings of how like Buffy ended up coming into the fold and all that stuff, and the episodic TV that had like all this cast of characters.
They had like an Allison Hannigan like redhead side character too, similar to Buffy. Xena did.
So Carl Urban got his start there.
Oh, that's right. It may hold up. This movie, though, I love all the flipping. Like, all they're just doing is you see shots of them flipping over the camera for like 20 minutes. It's great. So,
I mean, for a low budget show, I think it would hold up.
All right, let's, I don't know, rate it. Anthony, what would you give this movie rating now?
Okay, I'll do 2.
Okay.
As a kid.
Yes.
10 out of 10.
10, yes.
7 years old.
Yes.
10 out of 10. As an adult, 31 years old.
Yes.
I mean, this movie is about as close to a 1 or a 2 as you can get, right?
I'd give it a 0.
Okay, I mean, yeah, shit. I would go 1.5. How about that?
Okay, that's fair.
This is the worst movie we've ever had to talk about.
I can't even consider it a movie.
I'm sorry, Ethan. If this is like, you got to be objective about this.
I mean, Ruggs, what's your number? 0?
I'm gonna say no. I'm not gonna give it a 0. I'll give it like I was gonna give it a half point for Amy Jo Johnson and her belly shirt. I'm gonna give it another half point for the lady in the bikini that was the wizard, Dulcea.
Yes,
and I'll give it another half point for
Paul Freeman,
the guy who played Ivan Ooze. So all 3 of those things will give it at 1.5 points.
1.5 points. I'll give it 2 points. I'll give it a point for Dulcea and a point for Ivan Ooze and Keith and Denkinger. You're welcome. Thanks for making us watch this.
Yes.
I never thought that I'd be going here. We're going to review Mighty Morphin Power Rangers 1995, but there you go. Thanks for your support. And if anybody else wants to put us through some torture, this is what I love about this tier of movies is that at least one of us will go through torture no matter what the movie is. Like, it'll hit one of us. This time it backfired. Maybe the next movie we'll get Anthony to watch something he doesn't want to watch. Because that's always hilarious. But sign up for the Patreon, $10 a month will get you a movie review. Good stuff, gang. Well, that's going to do it for this week. Ruggs, where can the listener find you online?
You can find me on Twitter at ReallyRugBoy. So come by and say, "What's up, motherfucker?"
What's up? Yeah. Show notes at jockandnerd.com/280 will feature links to everything we talked about, how to get in touch, how to subscribe, and more fun stuff. Follow us on Instagram and tell the world, listener. Help us spread the show. Shout out to Ray O'Neill and a couple other guys in the Facebook group. I see them sharing the show on their Facebook pages. I love when that happens. That's fantastic. More of that, please. Thanks for listening this week to the Jock and Nerd Podcast. My name is Imran.
My name's Anthony.
He's the Jock.
He's the Nerd.
We'll peep you next time.
It's fucking awesome.
Yeah, that's really good.
See, you did like Power Rangers when you were an adult.
Fuck that show.
I love this movie.
That's the best.